Jammed at Bellefontaine Road, or just approaching Bellefontaine. There's a crash with lane blockage just before you hit the Canal Bridge on the Illinois side, so a solid bumper-to-bumper backup there, barely moving. Northbound 67 is an alternate. It's backed up about midway between Lindbergh across the Lewis Bridge, and it's slow most of the way into West Alton if you're thinking of that as an alternate to get into Illinois right now. Westbound Highway 64 is slow. Kings Highway headed out through to about Big Bend, west of Lindbergh, out to 270. It's jammed. Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. Southbound 270, Manchester through Doherty Ferry, the busiest spot. Eastbound 64 a little slow at 270, ramping on that North 270 ramps backed up. Southbound 55, midway down from Butler Hill to Merrimack Bottoms, a little slow after that, not bad. Still seeing delays on Telegraph at Forder, Pottle. Eastbound 64 a little slow at the 70 split, backed up 157 to 159, and eastbound 5570 east to 64 midway into 111 is slow in the construction area. Next update at 5:20 from the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
News, traffic, and the latest on the Redbirds. This is the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
Welcome into Monday on Redbird Rush Hour, and we finally have the three amigos back together. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been able to do this. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
Good to see my guys, man. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's good. We got a lot to do today, too.
I think it's been longer than 2 weeks.
Oh, it's like 2.5 because I missed a little bit of time, and then last week Bernie was on assignment on Gas House, and you were on vacation. So, yeah, we got a little bit of making up to do with all this.
That's all right.
We got a lot of months left. We don't have to do it all today. Yeah. We can make up that time moving forward. I wish we were reconvening on a day that felt a little better. And I don't mean gloom and doom or anything, but it was just a weekend. And maybe that's just the taste of yesterday kind of being bitter more than the rest of the weekend. But I didn't feel good about the way the weekend played out.
No, I mean, I was really disappointed Saturday because I thought, they were rushing through at bats. It wasn't one of their better performances offensively in terms of approach. It just seemed very strange. And then Sunday, man, what are you going to say, man? That's the first time since 2010 they had a 7-run lead and lost the game. I mean, so that's no question that's the worst loss of the season. And the thing about it is, guys, listen, the Cardinals have their qualities and the Cardinals have some strengths, and the Cardinals have shown they can pile up some wins in a short time. But boy, the Cardinals also just cannot establish any consistency for seriously going back to third week of May. They're just up and down all the time. But I guess that's true of all these teams in the wild card.
Yeah, and kind of what we expected, preseason. We thought they could be competitive, and they have been, but it didn't mean that they're going to stay that way.
Yeah, look, the margin of error for this team is just so thin.
Yeah,
If they let up in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to win baseball games. And even when they don't let up, there's going to be times where it's not enough for them to win. Now, if they lock back in, especially when you look at the other teams that they're competing against for that final wild card spot, what I'm saying about them, we can apply to the Miami Marlins, who I think have lost 6 in a row. We can apply to the San Diego Padres, who are likely to sell. We can apply to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who aren't a very good team.
Yeah.
We can apply to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So it's not like they're in a much worse position than these other teams that they're contending against for a playoff spot. But they just... if they want to be a playoff team, and they're talking about it, they are openly talking about the fact that they desire to be a playoff team this year. Well, if that's the case, you can't have letdowns. You can't have, Bern mentioned on Saturday, where it looked like the approach at the plate was not what it has been most of the year. And that's been this team has been pretty locked in. Even when they're not performing well, you look at how they grind out at bats and things like that. That wasn't the case on Saturday. Bernie's right. Yesterday, you just can't let yesterday happen.
No.
That has to be a win. And I keep repeating this over and over, and I'm not trying to put the fear of God in Cardinals fans, but how terrible will it be if, let's say, they win on Thursday against the Diamondbacks and then they finish out the year and they are tied with Arizona for the final wild card spot, and they lost the season series because of yesterday. That's where, I'm not one of these people that puts too much stock in one of 162 very often, but there is at least the potential and the possibility that yesterday's game can really be damaging to this club.
Yeah, and the what of it is disturbing, right? Like blowing a 7-0 lead is disturbing. I mean, knowing, Bernie pointed out last time it happened was 16 years ago, 2,500 games. So it's not common. That in and of itself is bad. To me, the worst part is how they did it. You can't. They had too many players who do not have the room for error to play where they're not considering the score of the game. There's no excuse for Jose Fermin to let that ball get past him. No. Not with the score, not with the situation. You cannot take that risk, and that's not a 20-year-old kid. This guy's been around a little bit. Brian Torres cannot get doubled off on a first and third situation like that. Those are inexcusable plays by big leaguers, and I appreciate that at least the manager yesterday didn't say we were working hard or whatever. He just said, look, we blew this game. Yeah. And that's the simple truth of it, because a team with no margin for error especially can't make those mistakes. If you just get rocked, okay, rocked happens. You give up some dingers, you get beat up, okay. This team doesn't have the room to have the brain farts. They just don't.
This team is so hard because you guys explained it well after I had my first comment. We expected this to be a topsy-turvy season. Yeah. A lot of people expected it to be a brutal season, and it's topsy-turvy. I'll take that over brutal. But I also I don't know how to explain this without sounding stupid. Well, what else would be new, right? I also, it gets a little bit on my nerves, where the Cardinals have really not been a good team in a long time. They've won only 7 of their last 17 series.
Right.
I mean, there was that 1-1 thing split with the Brewers in there too. So if you want to go 7-9-1, okay, we can do that. But they've won 7 out of their last 17 series. And if you also go back a little ways here, the June 17th, they have a .407 winning percentage, 13th in the National League, 25th overall. And I could keep going back in time. So if you go back in time, man, it hasn't been very good at all. And the thing that annoys me a little bit is that, okay, good. They're still in the wild card race. Okay, great. Ollie Marmol said, I want these guys to get a taste of the playoffs. I want them to have that experience. Okay, great. Play better. See, and that's what bothered me about yesterday. It's one thing if it's like a huge, big time talent deficit or whatever.
Right.
But we've seen the Cardinals several times this year, several times this season push their record to 9 games above 500. For a long while, they were a top 5, top 6 team in baseball. That's what bothers me. We know they are, in fact, capable of playing better. So to see some of the stuff that's been going on, especially yesterday, I don't have a lot of patience for it, right? Is that unreasonable? Tell me.
Nope.
I mean, it's okay. So
I don't care what level it is. I think it's right to be frustrated with that Jose Fermin play. It's right to be frustrated with, in that situation, for Torres to get doubled off of first, and especially with the DNA and makeup of this team. This team scores runs in moments like this. It would be completely what they would do to go score a run there in the top of the 10th inning and find a way to win that game, and then you run yourself out of that opportunity. Those are inexcusable mistakes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And no, we all know they're not trying to. That's not the point. It's not that they don't care, but those are the things that are completely controllable. You can't control whether or not you throw 104. Because if you have it, you have it. If you don't, you don't. You can't control your foot speed. You can't control how tall you are. It's not Fermin's fault that he's not Jordan Walker physically, right? But that doesn't mean you can't make the heady plays. That doesn't mean you can't play situational baseball, knowing you have a lead, knowing that this is not the time to take a risk. And again, I don't care that he's relatively new to the outfield. He's not that new, and he's been playing professional baseball for a long time. And it's not just that play. That's just symbolic of what we're talking about. Because the Torres play, Torres is 29 years old. I would yell at a 14-year-old for doing that. You know,
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Plenty of times. They're all listening right now. They're going, yeah, he did. He did. And I got yelled at it when I was a high school kid if I did something like it. It's not a matter of like, and they know it. And this is not about berating or whatever. It's just kind of, okay, if you are going to be what you're saying you want to be, those are the types of mistakes that can't happen when you blow a lead.
Yes.
And I think that's why Ollie was really ticked off.
He was pretty heated yesterday.
But the other side of it, too, is these are guys. Jose Fermin's been a pretty good ball player for this team this year. He had a really bad day yesterday. That doesn't mean he shouldn't be in the big leagues. That doesn't mean he should be DFA'd.
Right.
Ryan Stanek had a tough day yesterday. Stanek's got about a 3 ERA since May 1st. I mean, he's been more good than bad, even though he's had bad moments. We do need to, at times, take a step back and really evaluate these guys for who they are. Nobody's letting up on Jose Fermin. That was a terrible, terrible moment for him, but he's done a nice job for this team this season.
Yeah,
I agree.
What we're saying is the reaction to that mistake shouldn't be, get him out of here, DFA, send him to Memphis. Like, okay, just be realistic. That's normal.
It's okay to vent, but you know, come on. I mean, Fermin has helped them win some ball games. But you know, DFA. What's the point of who are you going to bring up? And I know what people are going to say right away. What do you mean?
Yeah,
Baez. Oh, you mean the guy hitting 117 since June the 25th? Him slugging less than 300 since June the 25th?
Yeah.
The guy who's contact right on strikes after making really good progress over this span since June the 25th. He's relapsed in that area. You know, it's like 71%, which is awful. Oh, you want to bring him up? The guy hitting 117. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. As Tony La Russa said to me one time, boy, I wish I could manage against you. Right.
That's a badge of honor right there, though.
I know.
He trot that one out every once in a while. Is great.
Yeah.
All right, man. We got a lot to do. We're just getting started. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here till 6 o'clock. And then Matt's got Sports Open Line. And then Matt's got some more after Sports Open Line with pregame starting after that.
Man.
And then we got the 9 o'clock game tonight out in Anaheim. So a lot of baseball on KMOX coming your way.
You know, I'm always talking about taking care of everybody else. The kids, the family, the job, the house, the calendar. But today, I want to talk about you taking care of you. Because if you don't take care of you, who's going to take care of them? What if you could better understand your risk for chronic disease before symptoms begin? Simon Cancer Center has a tool called Your Disease Risk, and it does just that. It helps you get a better understanding of your risk for chronic disease and cancer before symptoms even start. It looks at things like lifestyle, family history, everyday habits, nutrition, physical activity, tobacco use, sleep, and screenings, because your health story is shaped by more than just genetics. And knowledge is powerful. When you know your risk, you can make better choices, ask better questions, and the ability to take actions early. Listen, it only takes a few minutes, but it can help guide decisions that matter for years to come. Prevention starts with awareness, and awareness starts with you. Visit sitement.washu.edu/YDR and take the Your Disease Risk Assessment today. Just a few minutes a day could make a difference for years to come. That website again is sitement.washu.edu/YDR.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, nope, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
Sniff the difference.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we've still got an issue on eastbound 270. This traffic reports a service of Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family. It's a crash eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge, lane blockage. It's a solid jam at Bell Fountain Road. If you want to go, the alternate route would be northbound 67, delays north of Lindbergh, most of the way up to 94 in West Alton. After that, you're in the clear via that route. If you're on westbound Highway 64, it's slow. Kings Highway headed out through McCausland, west of Lindbergh out to 270 around Mason, and it's backed up Lake St. Louis Boulevard to 70. Eastbound 64 is also heavy Mason into 270. South 270, Clayton Road to Doherty Ferry is about the busiest part there. If you're on the Illinois side, other than eastbound 270, you've got roadwork delays on westbound 5570 from 255 midway to 111, eastbound 5570 from 64 to 203, and 64 eastbound backs up most of the way from 157 to 159. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance wish everyone a safe and joyful summer. Proudly serving the community for generations. Happy 250th, America. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, Redbird Rush Hour on a Monday. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler hanging out with you here. And fellas, we didn't get to it in the first segment. We can do it now. Cardinals are in L.A. to take on the Angels. Get to take on Mo. Everybody gets to see Mo for a change. That's an interesting little side story. I don't know that it's going to be much of a story as the games play out, but it's still kind of fun to see Mo back in charge of a team and then kind of see where that goes and what it means for the deadline. And, of course, everything in baseball now is everybody's trying to figure out what's going to happen to the deadline. And this may be one of the most chaotic 2 weeks that I can think of in recent baseball history, because you take into account the overall parity / mediocrity / weirdness of the season, and then the labor dispute coming up and people being cautious and hesitant. I don't know what to expect these next couple weeks.
It's a great point. Can I just say something really quick? I'm happy for John Mozeliak because he seems genuinely excited to take this job and the challenge. You can't get any worse than the Angels in so many fronts. So he's in a position, if he can clean that up and he can tame Artie Moreno. I mean, John Mozeliak will have a great second act as an executive in baseball, and I'm rooting for him. Because it's very easy. Yeah, he got stale. Things fell apart. I get that. He got a lot of criticism. I get that. But I can't co-sign with the people that act like he never did anything good for the Cardinals. The extremists. He was a hell of a general manager for a long time.
Yeah,
he really was. He played a huge role in a lot of their success. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
Now, if I could just add on to what you're saying, Bernie, actually is. As somebody who likes John Mozeliak, the one thing that I'm happy about with this Angels situation is if the Cardinals would, and a lot of the blood is on his hands on this. Like, I'm not trying to just give him a free pass, but if the Cardinals would not have lost their way, in all likelihood, there would have been some succession plan that was part of the Mo executive tree, whether it was Randy Flores, Mike Gersh, somebody who left the organization but was here and is coming back. Like, Mo would have had a larger role probably, and they would have kind of kept doing what they've been doing. When the Cardinals lost their way, Mo was a big part of that. They had to go a different direction. They brought in Chaim Bloom. We can all be really happy that the Cardinals have Chaim Bloom. I always kind of lamented on behalf of Mo, though, that he had this long tenure with the Cardinals, and then he walks out the door, and it was kind of like his administration was just severed, even though Chaim has kept a lot of the same people in place and tried to get the most out of them. It feels like now he's going to get that opportunity in Anaheim where he's going to pick the next GM, president of baseball operations. He's going to be able to kind of lay that, the Mo line will continue on in Anaheim, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, look, the guy had 20 plus years of being successful. It does, things happen. We've seen managers get stale in places and then they go somewhere else and they reinvigorate themselves. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from the things that you didn't adapt to quickly enough, and then you go try it again. I mean, how many times have we seen players do that, where a player flames out somewhere and then they go somewhere else, they get a fresh start, they new offseason program, whatever, and they bounce back.
See Nolan Arenado.
Yeah. It's fine. There's nothing. I think that's just normal. That's being a human. Like, sometimes you get caught in a rut doing things a certain way. But I think you guys would agree that's kind of where the Cardinals were. They had done things the same way for so long, and then you throw in, the reductions that they made during COVID, and then didn't bring them back, didn't restaff themselves the right way. They made mistakes that really hurt them, but it did lead us to this place where even if this season does go sideways and you end up with a losing record, whatever, look, the place that you're in with two young offensive stars in the major leagues right now, and a farm system that's starting to blow up with power arms left and right, a draft that's been widely rated as one of the best drafts in the league, as much as you can know this soon out.
Right.
It's okay. I mean, like, things happen, and then you move on, and now we've got a new voice, new vision, and we'll see. But it sure looks like you're in a better spot in part because of the suffering.
No doubt. It's very well said, man. Very well said. They are in such a much better place now. In fact, listen, 2022 was a great experience. But even then, there were signs. You knew that Molina was on the way out. Pujols was on the way out. Waino was going to have one more year. You could see that it was borrowed time, for lack of a better term. And there was not much down below on the farm, especially pitching. And so you could see the cracks in the foundation were getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I look back to those days and what Bloom's doing. It's not like he has spackled the walls or anything. It's not that. I mean, like he's doing they're doing a huge reconstruction.
Yep.
And what they've been able to do down below, we haven't seen it yet up here, but what they've been able to do down below, which will make everything up here much better. Yeah, it is just a phenomenal job to this point of like restoring that player development system and getting them up to speed. And you just look at all the long list of pitchers that they've drafted and how much more talent there is. Like it seems like it took 15 minutes. They went from having like hardly maybe a couple, 3 pitching prospects. Now, an honest reading, you could say they probably have like 15 guys at least that they're excited about.
Yeah, and
it's a big difference.
And you've gone from where they were, as you described it, to having a young lefty in Brandon Clark who threw 103 this weekend, and only one lefty in the modern pitch tracking era has touched that in the major leagues, and that's Aroldis Chapman. Like, that wasn't there a year ago. Last winter, that guy wasn't there until the Sonny Gray trade. So, yeah, there's a big change in the talent level. And, look, some of them are going to bust. They're going to get hurt. Some of them are going to make it, though. And the ones that make it are the ones that are going to impact you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I hope the Cardinals can get into the playoffs because it would be fun. And I know if they get to the playoffs, it's not going to be because Chaim Bloom did something stupid.
Right.
He's going to stay. He's going to remain disciplined. He's going to stick to his plan. But yeah, if you get to the playoffs, that would be, it'd be a nice ice cream cone at the end of the day. But boy, what's out ahead is what's really got me fired up.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, we got about a half an hour to go on Redbird Rush Hour. Sports Open Line will follow that. Cardinals pregame will follow that. And the Cardinals will follow that at 9 o'clock tonight out in Anaheim. So we got a lot to talk about. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. More cards and more about this next stretch, whether it's the Angels or just this stretch leading up to the deadline as we wrap things up at 6 o'clock here on Redbird Rush Hour.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Update your living spaces with new flooring. Mohawk laminate floors are durable, waterproof, and easy to install, making them perfect for active households. Enjoy the look and feel of wood flooring with Mohawk Perfect Seal Solutions laminate flooring. On sale now through July 26th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
For state senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering knows what a hard day's work looks like because he's done it his whole life.
I like Mike. He's a dad. He knows what our families are up against.
Mike Deering's a businessman. He knows what red tape actually costs.
I like Mike because Mike Deering stands with President Trump. Secure the border, cut our taxes, put Missouri first.
I'm Mike Deering. Career politicians spend more and tax more while your family gets squeezed. I'll lower your taxes, keep your money in your pockets, and cut government waste so deep it'll make the politicians squeal.
Mike Deering, farmer, small business owner, dad, conservative. I like Mike.
I like Mike.
I like Mike. For state senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering. On Tuesday, August 4th, vote Republican Mike Deering for state senate.
Make common sense conservative leadership common again.
Paid for by friends of Mike Deering. Megan Kaiser, treasurer.
At 5:30, the update here, sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got some sunshine downtown at the Arch. It is 91 degrees. Tomorrow, you can vote no excuse absentee in St. Charles County for the primary. That's August 4th.
You have to show up with your photo ID, present yourself to a bipartisan team of election judges. You get your ballot. You vote your paper ballot, put that in the scanner, grab your sticker on your way out. The process is just like Election Day. The Election Authority has differing hours for this no excuse period.
St. Charles County Director of Elections Kurt Barr says no excuse absentee voting ends August 3rd, the day before the primary. 2 satellite locations available only this week, next week, Monday through Friday. You can also vote at the election headquarters. Satellite office is at Element St. Charles and the Meadows in Lake St. Louis. A public hearing is set for later tonight as Manchester considers a proposal that some say would change the look and feel of the city's historic district around Henry Road.
Suntrup Automotive Group is seeking permission to redevelop the old schoolhouse on Henry Avenue in an effort to create a new mixed-use facility. If approved, the proposed building will include vehicle repair bays, expanded parking, and retail space, all as part of an effort to use and preserve the century-old building. Local homeowners in the area disagree with the plan, telling the St. Louis Post-Dispatch that it is incompatible with the surrounding historic neighborhood. They're urging city leaders to reject a proposed special use permit. The hearing gets underway this evening at 7 p.m. inside the Manchester Justice Center. City officials will take public comment before making their next move. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Hundreds of thousands of visitors to Kansas City Union Station during the World Cup. Brian Locke is in KC.
Union Station welcomed more than 400,000 visitors between June 10th and July 12th during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Officials say more than 38,000 vehicles parked at Union Station, over 70,000 riders used its streetcar stop, and Amtrak served more than 25,000 passengers at Union Station, an 11% increase from the same period in 2025. The station's City of Entrepreneurs marketplace featured more than 115 small businesses, drew an estimated 120,000 visitors, and generated more than $1 million in revenue for local vendors.
Paramount Skydance's acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery is on a pause, but might be only temporary.
A federal judge here in California has granted a temporary restraining order as part of a lawsuit filed by attorneys general in multiple states. The court order puts Paramount Skydance's acquisition of Warner Brothers on hold for 14 days and means a merger cannot go forward during that time. The states, led by California, are trying to block the deal, citing antitrust worries involving the $110 billion acquisition of Warner Brothers. The judge saying in the order that the states offered compelling evidence the combined companies will possess substantial market share in the wide-release theatrical distribution market. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center for tonight, clear sky, low 78. For tomorrow, sunshine, hot, humid, high 95. And Wednesday and Thursday, cooler, high 84 both days. Right now, downtown at the Arch, it's 91. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck, taxed. Your property, taxed. Everything you buy, taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
This is the Run My Own Business Dream.
This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here on behalf of Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer. Listen, I've been talking about Saliga for many, many years. I'm proud to do it because as a longtime client, my wife and I of Saliga Heating and Cooling, we know full well how great they are and how much we trust them. We trust them 100%. How grateful we have been to the times they've helped us, the way they treat us with respect. They explain everything. They don't fast talk. They don't hustle. They're not trying to twist your arm. They're not trying to, maybe convince you need something you really don't need. They just don't do that. Because the Saliga family's owned this business for 100 years, and that name, Saliga, means a lot to them, and they want to maintain that great reputation that they've built up for the last 100 years, 4 generations of Saligas. So if you are in a jam with your air conditioning this summer and you don't know what to do, I'm politely telling you what you should do. You call Saliga, and help will be on the way, and you're going to feel a whole lot better because help is on the way, because they'll take great care of you. So just get all the information, including the phone number, by going to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
All right, baseball fans, you think you know who's going to homer today? Well, FanDuel's giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's going to hit a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. So you've got nothing to lose and a lot to gain. And don't forget, you can make a free pick every day during the season. Just another reason FanDuel is the home for home runs. So you ready to play your game? FanDuel.com/Missouri to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, official partner of MLB. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
Most of us are one good deal away from finally replacing that worn-out rug, fixing up the backyard, or getting the bedroom we actually want. Good news, that deal's almost here. Wayfair's Black Friday and July sale. Get up to 80% off area rugs and up to 60% off outdoor and bedroom furniture. Shop Wayfair's huge selection of styles and find the piece to fit your style, budget, and space. Plus, free shipping. Black Friday in July ends July 27th. Shop today at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, unfortunately, there's still no change on eastbound 270 in North County. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Got a crash eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge with lane blockage. It's a solid jam back through Bell Fountain, bumper to bumper right now, just crawling. As an alternate route, northbound 67, you've got delays from Lindbergh most of the way up to 94 in West Alton. Westbound Highway 70, Cave Springs out through 370 is kind of heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Clayton Skinker's slow. It's slow west of 270 through Mason. There's a crash eastbound 64 before Mason. They have the right lane block. And westbound 64 is still a jam out west from Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to Highway 70. South 270 is clear. Eastbound 64 just a little slow at the inner belt on the Illinois side. Eastbound 5570 Exchange through 203 is heavy, and eastbound 64 has the usual slow traffic up the hill from 157 to 159. Next update at 5:50 from the over at michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is currently 5:40 in Mid-America. This time check being brought to you by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, it's Redbird Rush Hour on a Monday. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Guys, I would like to request that we talk about some offense with the team at the moment, because July's not been great. Now, like Weatherholt and Burleson have been totally fine. Walker's been awesome. 1,000 OPS for July. He's been totally fine. But Ivan Herrera sub 600 OPS this month. Mason Wynn 636. Nathan Church 355 OPS this month. Newt 599. Blaze Jordan is getting there. After yesterday, he had a better day, so he's getting up there. That's a lot of that's one day. Nelson Velasquez 2 for 22 this month. Torres 2 for 21 this month. Pedro Pajes, for some reason, has outpaced Jimmy Crooks in playing time. He's 2 for 16 this month. Even though Crooks is 4 for 14 with 2 home runs, we're playing Pajes, who cannot keep the ball in front of him when the ball hits the ground. That's a separate topic, but I think you guys. The reason I wanted to read these,
they just can't quit him.
No, he can throw, but that's like let's let the rest of it calm down, right?
The Cardinals are going to be going through the rebuild, and it's over.
He'll still be there.
It'll be like 16 years from now. He'll still be catching half the games. It is one of the most bizarre obsessions I've ever seen in Cardinals baseball. Anyway, I'm sorry.
He's 2
I had to get that off my chest.
2 for 16 with 8 strikeouts so far this month. But let's keep running him out there instead of the younger guy who, hey, look, we know Crooks has struggled, but at least there's some unknown upside there because he doesn't have the extended playing time that Pajes has had in the big leagues the last couple of years. But I guess the bigger reason I wanted to bring all this up is the offense is a problem right now. You don't have enough guys hitting. You got one guy really going, a couple guys that are okay, and a lot of guys are just not doing anything.
They're scoring runs, though. Man. They're scoring. The run scoring isn't terrible. Like I don't disagree with anything that you just said, but they just went through a series where they scored 5. Now, Saturday wasn't great with 3, but they scored the 7 yesterday. That Braves series, they took 2 out of 3. So I don't think it's the biggest issue with this team right now. I guess that's where I'm going.
I actually think it's a pretty big issue because I think some of the stats have been kind of skewed by – they scored 30 runs in 2 games.
Right.
Atlanta and Wrigley Field. And, they will rise up and have a really good game offensively like yesterday. No doubt about it. But I was doing the numbers yesterday, and, in the Cardinals in terms of batting average, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, weighted runs created plus, on and on and on. They were in the bottom 5 in the major leagues in July for all that stuff.
Yeah.
But so the fact that they had some, 2 or 3 bombardments, it kind of inflates a run total and is, I think distorts it just a little bit. I don't think it's been a real good offense this month at all, really. So, except for some of their uprisings on the road, which I'll take when they have them.
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe that I was bringing too, because you look at, you got 28 runs scored in that Atlanta and those Cubs games. So that's the 2nd and the 3rd of July back to back. So that's 28 in those 2 games. which brings you down to, say 48 in the other 14 games, which is not good enough.
Yeah, you guys.
Less than 4 runs a game is not going to be good enough.
I have no problem arguing with you guys. I'm really not trying to argue with you guys because everything you're saying is spot on. I guess where I'm coming from is when I go game by game here recently and I say, how many of these games did they lose because they didn't score enough runs? And I think we can look at the Saturday Diamondbacks game. That's a fair assessment, and we got that earlier. But I don't see a ton of those games that they're losing games because of it. It happens. I don't think that's the main culprit. Yesterday they didn't lose because
it's at least half their losses here in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, it's kind of an extreme thing. That's what I don't like about it. When the Cardinals score 5 runs in a game, just 5, they have a great record. But they'll erupt for 7, they'll erupt for 9, and then they'll go through a stretch of time where listen, and I've been charting this stuff. I don't have it in front of me, but I've been charting this stuff. They'll go through a stretch in time after one of those bombardment games, where 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs, 1 run, 2 runs. It's they have been on that cycle for a long time. And trust me, I've charted it and written about it. So, yeah, this offense should be better than it is, especially when you have Weatherholt and Walker and you have Burleson.
Yep.
Nootbaar was great in June. He has not been good in July, as you pointed out. Herrera, to me, in terms of talent, you expect more from him. I think he's the most disappointing hitter on that team in terms of talented guys.
Right.
He's not getting nearly enough out of that great talent and strength as he should.
Yeah, he's doing the one thing extremely well, which is getting on base. But
even that's tapered off in July.
Yep.
Yeah,
you're right.
I hate the fact that this team just can't get a center fielder that will give them consistent production.
Yeah.
Right now, what you're getting from Nathan Church isn't any better than what you were getting from Victor Scott before he got sent down.
Yeah.
And I said this to you earlier, Kevin. If Baez was actually doing what he did at his highest moments this year at AAA, and Bernie went through the numbers earlier, you can't call this guy up when he's hitting 120.
Not when you're in this kind of a funk. No.
But if he was swinging it well, this period right now might have been enough for me to say, get him up and do some sort of combination of Nootbaar and Baez in center field. But you just can't do that right now because he's not performing at a level right now at AAA where it makes sense.
Yeah. And
totally agree.
Pointing at Church real quick, and I know we got to take a break. He just got to stop swinging at everything. He's in the bottom 1%. Yeah. He has got the worst chase rate in baseball. He's got to stop swinging at everything.
It was good for a while when he came back up.
Yeah.
And I haven't really looked at it, but I assume it's been bad during this time where he's not hitting at all.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to believe, but I don't know. I'm not sure anymore.
A lot of questions still to be answered. Obviously, they won't all be answered by the deadline, but hopefully some of them will be, so we can have a little bit of an idea of where this is going to go, and hopefully it'll go somewhere when we get to that point. All right, we only have one more segment left, and then Sports Open Line is coming up, so hang tight. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. We'll wrap up Redbird Rush Hour next on KMOX.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Join Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost for Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, every Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on KMOX. And get more, including the Kickin' with the Rickens podcast, when you visit rickenfinancial.com.
This is the Duke's country song.
It's a song about award-winning chefs. Yes, chef. And why they choose Duke's Mayo. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working this crash on eastbound 64 just before Mason. It looks like there's a flatbed on the scene. The right lane is blocked. So there's a short delay eastbound 64 at that point. Westbound's not bothered by it any longer. We also have an incident southbound 170. I can't tell if it's a stall or a crash. Just south of the U Club Tower, traffic's jammed at Brentwood Boulevard. Westbound 64, the only delays, still a solid jam. There's a crash out near Prospect they were clearing near 64, so it's still jammed at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Of course, we still have this mess on eastbound 270 in North County, headed into Madison County. That crash at the Canal Bridge with lane blockage still has a solid, pretty much a standstill jam back through Bellefontaine Road. And northbound 67 from Lindbergh, most of the way up into West Alton. It's not a solid jam, but it's very heavy running all the way through there. And, of course, you still have the roadwork delay on eastbound 64, east of 157 to 159 as well. Next update at 5:59 from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Now, back to the Redbird Rush Hour on KMOX.
Sponsored by Busey Bank. Building community with Busey Bank. Beyond the game.
All right, a few minutes left on Redbird Rush Hour. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. Did we leave anything out yet? We don't have that much time. We got 4.5 minutes left. Did we leave anything out that anybody's been had on a list to get to?
I want to throw it to you guys. What are your thoughts now, right now, about the trade deadline? I mean, because of May and Romero, kind of the problems they're having with JoJo with the appendicitis and all. Does it seem like maybe the Cardinals are going to be? Should we lower our expectations about what might happen? What do you think?
I think so. It's starting to feel less and less like anything of significance is going to happen. In part because the team's not doing what it takes to make you want to buy, and the guys that you would sell aren't doing anything. I mean, not to say that there's no value. Newt has value. You mentioned that on DGS today, Bernie. I agree. I think Newt has value, but Mays certainly can't be at its peak right now.
No.
And at what point do you go, well, if we're not getting much of anything in return, why not just keep him and keep the innings coverage for the rest of the year, as opposed to putting that on guys we may or may not think are ready to carry that load? Although I wouldn't mind seeing Dobbins a little bit more extended. I wouldn't mind seeing Quinn Matthews get a look at some point just to get a sneak preview for the future. But I don't know. Right now it feels like it's going to be a lot of nothing.
Is May qualifying offer eligible?
If you had asked me a month ago, I would have said yes.
But I mean, they're allowed to put that on him? Okay.
Yes. He's never gotten one before.
Okay. So, I mean, the draft pick that you get might be more than what you would get out of the trade deadline for him.
Wheels, you hit the nail on the head. Sorry for the cliche, but you did. I'm tired, so all I got is cliches right now. Anyway, they're not doing enough. They are not doing enough to where, Chaim Bloom can look at it and say, I owe it to these guys to invest in them, to upgrade the roster somehow. I think he could get some help here and there.
Sure.
But, I mean, as we sit here tonight, right before the Cardinals open that 3-game series against the Angels, who have the worst record in baseball this year, I mean, the Cardinals have lost 8 out of 12. And if you just keep going back a little bit, they have that, they'll have that good road trip where they beat Atlanta and they beat the Cubs. But again, you look since June 17th, they're 11-16. You since June 11th, they're 14-19. I mean, the further back you go, you just don't see any sustained success that would fire up Chaim Bloom to the point where maybe he shifts his philosophy a little bit. There's no just cause for it.
No, I would say unless some of what you're doing is also with an eye on next year too, right? Yeah. A controllable reliever would make sense, right? Because you can never have enough relievers. But again, everybody wants that. Every contender wants that. So they're going to be, some of these teams are going to be more confident and be willing to pay a higher price than the Cardinals will be just based on where they are, which is okay. I think that's another takeaway I have, and we don't have a ton of time. 1 minute.
Go ahead.
I don't think they have to do a ton. They've done a lot of the heavy lifting. They did it in the winter. You got to get better, but I don't think they have to add depth. I think they're getting depth, and they're going to be all right, but they gotta get more out of what they have.
I would totally agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think that's a controversial statement.
No,
at
I
all.
agree. Yeah. Bernie, you laid it out earlier on the pitching side. Just the number of arms that are there, like that didn't exist a year ago. You didn't have Fajardo and Doyle and Franklin and Brandon Clark and all these guys that have emerged. So, yeah, you're in a much better place now, so it's not as critical, I think, that you have a big deadline. Which I guess
I agree.
is positive.
If Bloom can do a George Soriano Part 2,
yes,
and pick up a guy they've had their eye on who could be really good, and they could fix him, make him better, and yet you don't have to give up much for him. Something like that would be good because the bullpen just needs help. They just can't keep doing this. I mean, it's just too many blow-ups.
Amen. All right, boys, have a good night. It was fun getting us back together. We'll do this again on Friday. And, of course, we'll hear Bernie throughout the week on Gas House Gang, DGS, Sports Open Line, you name it. So a lot of stuff coming up your way. Sports Open Line with Matt Pauley is next on KMOX.
What has your candidate actually delivered in Clayton, Ladue, Olivet, and Warson Woods? There's just one Democrat running for state representative who can answer. That's Sidney Clark. As mayor, he's delivered more than $100 million in economic growth and some of the strongest home values in the region. Balanced budgets, steady leadership, a neighbor since 1973. And now, Sidney Clark will protect what you've built, stopping costly data centers from hiking your utility bills, and voting no on Amendment 5, which actually increases taxes on everything you buy. No other candidate in this race can say it. Sidney Clark has already done the job, and he's ready from day one. Sidney Clark, results, not rhetoric. Democrat for State Representative, District 99.
I'm Sidney Clark, and I approve of this message. Paid for by Sidney Clark for State Representative, District 99. Tammy Clark, Treasurer.
Hi, thanks for calling Uline.
Wait, did the phone even ring?
Nope.
Okay, so you answered before the ring. But now you're going to put me on hold, right?
We don't do that here. We're real people answering the phone, ready to help with your order.
Products for your business and warehouse needs. Always in stock, ready to ship same day. And backed by Uline's legendary 24/7 customer service. Uline, we warehouse for you.
Save even more during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members save up to 20% on in-stock molding when you spend $250 or more. And save up to 20% on in-stock pre-hung interior doors when you buy 6 or more. Load up today on the materials you need and get the most out of Pro Savings Days. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 7/31 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest jam we have right now is still eastbound 270 in North County getting into Madison County. There's a crash eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge, lane blockage, and it's a solid jam, a standstill pretty much back at Bell Fountain. If you want to take the alternate route in the area, it's not a solid jam the whole way up, but it's stop and go most of the way on northbound 67 from Lindbergh up to 94 in West Alton currently. Also got a crash, I mentioned last time up, an incident. It looks like a crash to me. Southbound 170 right before you get on to eastbound 64, so it's blocking that left lane. Traffic's a solid jam back to about the Parkway right now. They cleared that crash eastbound 64 at Mason. They also cleared the one west of Prospect, but it's still heavy approaching Prospect out to 70 on westbound 64. And eastbound 64 in Illinois is still backed up east of 157 to 159. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Authorities in Manhattan say a man identified as Andrew Arabaka carried out an attack at the federal building using an incendiary device. Smoke and flames broke out on the side of the building that houses immigration court. Several people were injured. FBI Assistant Director in charge, James Barnacle, says the man had anti-ICE literature on his card and had other weapons.
Arabaka is a former United States Army soldier. He was enlisted for approximately 4 years, serving from 2001 to 2005. He was a repairman or mechanic on Patriot missile systems. He is 43 years old.
The war with Iran escalating again and turning deadly this weekend. The Pentagon says 2 U.S. military members killed at a U.S. base in Jordan due to an Iranian strikes Friday. In Texas, the threat of flooding continuing following severe storms. Governor Greg Abbott issued a state disaster declaration for 59 counties and is seeking federal relief for 28 counties. This is ABC News. A tropical system in the Gulf gaining strength and attention. ABC's Ginger Z sends parts of the Gulf Coast already under tropical storm watches.
As this keeps moving west and tries to get its life together, it could become Bertha. That could happen later today. Whether it gets the name or whether it progresses into something a little bit more, either way, it's moving west toward New Orleans by Wednesday into Thursday, and then eventually by the weekend into Texas.
One man in New York is proving there's no expiration date on living out your dreams, even if those dreams involve jumping out of an airplane.
A 105-year-old Navy veteran in the Rochester, New York area ticked an item off his bucket list over the weekend, skydiving out of a plane. Spurgeon Butch Carlson did a tandem jump Sunday afternoon for his birthday. Last year, for his 104th, he did his first horseback ride with his 99-year-old brother.
ABC Sherry Preston reporting. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
At 6:02, we've got sunshine and 90 degrees downtown at the Arch. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is investigating former Congresswoman Cori Bush. Could we see preliminary results ahead of the primary next month?
The Attorney General is investigating whether money raised for tornado relief by a nonprofit run by former Congresswoman Cori Bush made its way into her pockets through her Political Action Committee. Will we get their findings before voters go to the polls next month? I asked Attorney General Hanaway.
The return date on the civil investigative demand is after the primary, so probably not.
Cori Bush faces off against Congressman Wesley Bell in a rematch of last year's primary on August 4th. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
This group of firefighters that are involved, they're all hard workers, proud to call themselves St. Louis City firefighters. So it's kind of grown a life and legacy of its own.
St. Louis Fire Chief Dennis Jankerson tells KMOX the incident over the weekend where the American flag flew upside down at one of the firehouses was an accident.
Chief Jankerson says there was no malice and it was not intentional.
I'll take the fault, I'll take the hit, but I'll do my very best to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I'm pretty sure they got my feelings on what happened over the weekend.
Someone made a social media post about the flag. An off-duty firefighter saw the flag while he was passing by and called the firehouse. They immediately corrected the mistake then.
I really appreciate the people watching our homes, taking a look. And, it's you hate to use the term, it is what it is, but we had a kerfluffle. It's fixed. It was discussed. I'm sure we're not going to have another kerfluffle for some time.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Today's big boy train stop in Pacific sent up to 25 people to emergency responders with heat-related illnesses. Merrimack Ambulance District declared a mass casualty event around 11:30, calling in 10 agencies and 20 units. 3 people were hospitalized. The rest were treated on scene and released. A big fan of Amendment 5 to eliminate eliminate the state income tax and replace it with higher and broader sales taxes is Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. On the Chris and Amy show, asked about the major fail Kansas had doing this.
Kansas went into it all at once. And that's the thing that people should know, is that this is very gradual. It's only as we replace the income tax gradually that it goes away. And that's already been happening in Missouri. We just need to accelerate it.
Critics of Amendment 5 say ending the income tax benefits the wealthy while increasing sales taxes hurts the poor and struggling. St. Charles County Director of Elections Kurt Barr says starting tomorrow, voters can vote no excuse absentee for the next 2 weeks.
Two silent locations are on the eastern side of the county at Element St. Charles, next to the Sam's Club, and at the Meadows Shopping Center in Lake St. Louis is the western location.
Barr says election authorities want to make this as easy as possible.
The Tuesday and Thursdays, the election authority office is going to stay open until 7 p.m. This is something that we started this year, staying open extra hours to allow people to come in and vote after work. First day of this no excuse in-person voting will be open from 8:30 to 7.
You do need a photo ID, either a driver's license, state ID, passport, or military ID. There are some easy fixes to help more women when it comes to breast cancer screenings.
That's what Gateway to Hope, a breast health nonprofit, is saying after a first-of-its-kind study on breast cancer disparities. The study showed plenty of mammography capacity, but only about 56% is used. Only half of eligible city and county women in 2024 got a mammogram. Black women are nearly 4 times more likely to die from breast cancer in this region and more likely to face delayed treatment. Gateway to Hope is suggesting expanding access through extended hours, improved scheduling, transportation, and aligning existing resources with patient needs. Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Let's get you now to Roger Brand at the traffic center. Find out how the drive is going.
Well, unfortunately, Michael, there's no change on eastbound 270 in North County currently. This traffic reports a service of Financial and Tax Strategies. We have this crash eastbound 270 at the Canal Bridge, lane blockage involved. It's still a solid jam pretty close to Bell Fountain on eastbound 270, so it hasn't improved in the last hour at all. Hasn't gotten really any worse, but no better. And as an alternate route, northbound 67 still backs up about midway up from Lindbergh to the Lewis Bridge, and then from there it's slow into 94 at West Alton. So the choice is yours what you want to do there. Southbound 170, they're still working this crash in the left lane at just before 64. It's a solid jam on South 170 back at the Parkway. Westbound 64 is a little slow at Prospect out in the Wentzville area out to 70, and eastbound 64 on the Illinois side still backed up midway from 157 up the hill to 159. I'm Roger Brand in the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Summertime conditions stay with us into tonight. It's mainly in the low 90s, maybe upper 70s for evening plans. Clear, warm, and humid. Only 78 for the overnight low. Tuesday, partly sunny, hot and humid. Some spot thunderstorms around, but limited. 95 for the high. There is a cool front on the way. That front comes through on Tuesday. Tuesday night, maybe some spot evening thunderstorms. Pretty hard to find. Partly cloudy, but the winds have turned to the north-northwest come Tuesday night. 71 for the low. Wednesday, sunny, nice, less humid. We will feel the difference. 84 for the high on Wednesday. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, about 66. Thursday, sunshine and 83. I think we're back into the low 90s come Sunday afternoon, but not before that. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We've got sunshine. It is 90 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on at KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to be with you. You got a lot of me. You just got me for the last hour for Redbird Rush Hour. We'll do these 2 hours. That will lead right into our coverage of Cardinals baseball. Pregame starts at about 8:15, 9:10 first pitch tonight in Anaheim as they are going to match up against the Angels. So we've got a lot to get to. A number of guests are going to be on the program tonight. We are going to be joined in a little bit more than 10 minutes from Rhett Bollinger. He covers the Angels for MLB.com. Cardinals Angels tonight. I want to talk to him about the series, but also want to talk to him a little bit about what's going on with that organization since John Mozeliak took over running the baseball operation on an interim basis. But Mo is going to be setting up that team for the future. And what has it been like? It really seems like from afar that they needed a baseball adult in the room and say what you want to say about Mo's tenure with the Cardinals and how it ended, and the Cardinals not playing the best baseball and needing to change a lot of things in the organization after his tenure, and what we've seen with Chaim Bloom kind of updating a lot of things. John Mozeliak's still a really good baseball executive, and considering where the Angels were and where they are now, it seems like it is a much better situation for them. So we'll talk with Rhett coming up in just a while. Understand that Mo is actually talking to the media out in Anaheim today. I'm sure there is a lot of Cardinals media there who is looking forward to talking to him. So we'll be catching Rhett a little bit after that conversation. We'll talk some college football as Cody Goodwin, who covers Mizzou for Power Mizzou. He is going to join us at about 6:35. SEC football media days are going on right now in Tampa, and 4 teams addressing the media on an everyday basis. So Coach Drinkwitz and a number of the players were part of the day 1 group today. So we'll talk with Cody, who I believe is in Tampa. Coming up next hour, we'll hear from our good friend Kyle Reese. He does all things Cardinals prospects, all things Cardinals draft. When I took the week off last week during the All-Star break, I didn't get the opportunity to spend much time talking about the draft and everything going on with that. So we'll do that with Kyle a little bit. And then we'll also play back some of what Cardinals President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom had to say when he spoke with Tom Ackerman on Sports on a Sunday Morning for their every week Sunday morning conversation. As always, if you want to chime in on the program, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900. That's 314-436-7900. You can also tweet at me if you'd like, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And if you want to leave us a text message or if you want to send a tweet at me, did I get them all? The video one. I'm going through my head. I'm like, wait, I mentioned the phone call. I mentioned the text, mentioned the tweets. Yeah, if you are watching on the video stream, you can leave a comment in the chat, and we will get to some of those messages as we do go along through the course of the evening. We've talked about it a lot. I don't know what I can add. Yesterday was a really bad day for the Cardinals. Really bad days for the Cardinals with that loss. And the good thing about baseball is you play every day. So yesterday's game gets to get put in the proverbial rearview mirror very, very quickly. Maybe not as quickly as you would like. Maybe this is the day that you wish you were out on the East Coast and you were playing a game that was starting at 5 o'clock Central instead of 9 o'clock Central. But all things being equal, they'll play baseball tonight, and you can probably expect a better performance than what they did yesterday. Yesterday was frustrating. Yesterday was I don't know. Yeah, I'm very good at being a prisoner of the moment. I'm very good at, feeling the emotions of the moment and having a hard time being able to compare them to how I was feeling at another moment. But there was the game that the Cardinals lost against the Padres on the last at bat. That was a really, really tough loss. There was that Brewers game where Dustin May had a no-hitter, what was it, through 7, and they end up losing that game at the end. So, I mean, there's been some bad losses this year. Those are more like moments that are bad and how they end. Yesterday, from a totality standpoint, the fact that they got out to a 7-0 lead and then they still were not able to find a way to win that game, and they've not lost a game that they've won by 7 in quite some time. It's been a while since they've blown a 7-0 lead. So it was a really, really disappointing day. Now, we've talked about this a bit. I don't know if it was actually when I was on with the DGS earlier. We can look at the way the Cardinals have been playing over the last month and a half, and we can start to say, hey, this thing's sort of trending in a direction that is not a direction that you want it to trend in. And that's a very valid thing. They have not won as often really since June started as you would have liked them to have won. Okay. We're not running. Those are facts. Like I'm not going to run away from the fact of the matter. And that is and I think Bernie mentioned during not Gas House game, but Redbird Rush Hour, that they've only won 7 of their last 17 series. So this is a trend that's been going a little bit in the wrong direction here for a while. Now it wasn't a severe left turn. Their high water mark was 9 games over 500. Right now, with their current record of 51-47, they're 4 games over 500. So during this period, going from their high water mark of 9 games over 500 to where they're at right now, they have lost 5 games against 500. So that's not like this major jumping into, diving into a cliff and not being able to come back out of it. But there has been some regression, right? There's been regression. They've not played as good a baseball as you would like them to have played. They've had good moments. The 2 series wins against the Atlanta Braves here recently. Those were really, really good moments. They don't match up well against the Brewers. So for some, and I think kind of myself included, if they don't play well against Milwaukee, I sort of throw that out. And then we had all the weird things that were happening during that 5-game, 4-day series against the Brewers where Schuster's getting called up and Zimmerman's getting called up and they didn't have any pitching, like just all this wacky stuff. So when they lose 4 out of 5 there, especially coming off a series against the Cubs that they won 2 out of 3, like it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster. That's the point that I'm trying to get to. This is somebody who wants to tell you that this thing is just falling off a cliff and this team is playing horrible baseball. That's not the case. When you go back through their last handful of series, they lose 2 of 3 to the Diamondbacks. They should have won 2 out of 3. They should have won yesterday. Before that, they win 2 of 3 against the Braves. Before that, it's the Brewers series that they lose 4 or 5. Before that, they win 2 of 3 against the Cubs. Before that, they take 2 of 3 against the Braves. So that's their recent history. So it's not something where they've just completely lost themselves. But the longer trend going back 5-6 weeks tells you that they're not playing as good a baseball as they were earlier in the year. And that is an issue. And it's something that they do need to get fixed at some point in time because they are now openly talking about the fact that they want to be a playoff club. Oliver Marmol has said out loud that he wants this team to experience the playoffs. That is something that this team is talking about. So if they're talking about it, we're talking about it. They want to be a playoff team. If they want to be a playoff team, they can't lose games like they lost yesterday. Yesterday is a game you can't lose because of the way you lost it. It wasn't like you were up 7-0 and then all of a sudden the Diamondbacks just started hitting home run after home run after home run after home run. There was a home run. There was a Nolan Arenado home run. That was a very big hit. But there was also Jose Fermin just misplaying a ball out in left field. And yeah, it went as an inside the park home run, but it was a play that was largely because of Fermin making a bad decision on how he wanted to play that ball. There's Brian Torres getting too far off of first base in the worst possible moment and getting doubled off when you had a runner at first and third situation in the 10th inning. I mean, there's a bunch of things there. And that is what makes yesterday so disappointing. I mean, I think if all of a sudden the Diamondbacks just would have turned it on and would have just battered the Cardinals, that'd be one thing. But the way that went down, some bases loaded walks in there, that's incredibly frustrating. There was just a lot of frustration, rightfully a lot of frustration from from fans on what happened yesterday. If you weren't frustrated with yesterday's performance, I don't know what you were watching, because that was something that was, you just don't want to see that play out very often that way. All right, we got a bunch to get to here on the program. We hope to be joined in just a few moments by Rhett Bollinger. Again, John Mozeliak was talking with the media today, and he not quite sure how long he was going to go. So we'll try to get Rhett on coming up in our next segment. Later on this hour, Cody Goodwin's going to join us. We'll talk Mizzou football with him, because today was Missouri Day for and 3 other teams, but Missouri was one of the teams that presented at the SEC Football Media Days down in Tampa. Tampa. So that's the schedule for this hour. A lot more to get to in the 7 o'clock hour as well. My name is Matt Pauley. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line, and we are back in just a moment with Rhett Bollinger here on KMOX.
Listen up, everybody. You think you know who's going yard today? Well, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to prove your baseball expertise with Daily Dingers, and this is how it works. You make your pick on who's hitting a home run. If you're right, you get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a shot at extra winnings. So now, when your favorite superstar knocks it out of the park, it'll feel that much sweeter. Daily Dingers is free to play, and you can lock in a pick every day of the MLB season. That's why FanDuel is the home for home runs. Go to FanDuel.com/Missouri, FanDuel.com/Missouri to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer today. This is your chance to call your shot on FanDuel, official partner of MLB. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms, sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
New Game Plus with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you washed that all away with Game, and now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever, now with odor-fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For State Senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering knows what a hard day's work looks like because he's done it his whole life.
I like Mike. He's a dad. He knows what our families are up against.
Mike Deering's a businessman. He knows what red tape actually costs.
I like Mike because Mike Deering stands with President Trump. Secure the border, cut our taxes, put Missouri first.
I'm Mike Deering. Career politicians spend more and tax more while your family gets squeezed. I'll lower your taxes, keep your money in your pockets, and cut government waste so deep it'll make the politicians squeal.
Mike Deering, farmer, small business owner, dad, conservative. I like Mike.
I like Mike.
I like Mike. For State Senate, I like Mike. Mike Deering. On Tuesday, August 4th, vote Republican Mike Deering for State Senate.
Make common sense conservative leadership common again. Paid for by friends of Mike Deering. Megan Kaiser, Treasurer.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where supplies start at just 25 cents?
Staples has the latest laptops with up to 40% savings.
I may hug the cashier.
So embarrassing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples with up to 40% off select tech. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Relive the magic of the 1904 World's Fair when the heartwarming hometown favorite Meet Me in St. Louis returns to the Muni stage August 6th through 13th. Sponsored by Commerce Bank and Commerce Trust Company. Your seats are waiting at muni.org.
All access with Ollie Marble on the Gas House Gang.
I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group. This group fits my personality to a T. I love what we're doing. I love how we're going about it. I love the honest conversations. I love the grit. And there's been certain times where I've caught myself where bases are loaded, our back's up against the wall, and I can't help but smile. I show up every day looking forward to what's next for this group.
Ollie Marble, Tuesdays at noon on KMOX. Built on a century, focused on today. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Back at it on KMOX. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Matt Pauley hanging out with you. We got you all the way till 8 o'clock tonight. And then 8:15 is when we start our coverage of Cardinals baseball after the 8 o'clock news. Cardinals and Angels opening up a 3-game series against each other tonight. The pitching matchup, the Cardinals will have Kyle Leahy on the mound. He's been pretty good here recently. Jose Soriano is going to be on the mound for the Angels. The right-hander comes in with an 8-6 record and a 3.49 ERA. I don't lie to you very often. When I do lie to you, it's not done on purpose, but I lied to you when I went to break. Told you we'd be joined by Rhett Bollinger, who covers the Angels for MLB.com. He just let me know during the break they've got some media availabilities. I even said to you that John Mozeliak was scheduled to talk to the media in Anaheim and that we would be talking with Rhett after that took place. Well, tonight's game is also on national TV. It's a national TV ESPN game, and I guess they held on to some folks a little bit longer, so everything else got delayed. So all that being said, we are not going to have Rhett Bollinger on the show tonight. Hopefully we can have him on at some point in the near future to talk through what's going on with the Angels under John Mozeliak, because I find that to be very interesting, just the way that's going to play out, because I don't get the sense that Mo wants to be in that everyday chair for years and years again, like he was with the Cardinals, where it's 100+ hour work weeks. You're never turned off. You never truly get a vacation. You never, like, if the phone rings on Christmas Eve and somebody wants to talk to you, well, you're going to talk to them. There is not that opportunity to ever have a day off. And, listening to Mo speak when he first came on with the Angels, and even listening to him speak as he started to wrap up his time with the Cardinals, it really felt like he was looking forward and then enjoying actually having some time to himself. So coming on for the second half of the season to shepherd the Angels into whatever their next regime is going to look like, that's not that big of a deal. He can do that. He can take 6 months. He can go, live in Southern California during that time, probably get out and drink some nice wine and do things like that. And then maybe stay on as some sort of an advisor after that with whoever he ends up bringing in to be the everyday decision maker. But at the same time, guys get reinvigorated. People get reinvigorated sometimes pretty quickly. And maybe Mo was ready to be done in St. Louis, but he still has a passion for the job, and he finds that again in Anaheim and wants to stay on a little bit longer with the Angels. Is that a crazy thought? I don't think so. You look at John Mozeliak's age, he's not even 60 yet. So he's still a relatively young man when you think about this business and people who are in this business for a very, very long time. So I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. Is there a scenario where he stays on as president of baseball operations and then hires a new general manager, and that general manager takes on a little bit more of the day-by-day than a lot of general managers do in Major League Baseball when you think about the general manager, president of baseball operations dynamic? Because when he was in St. Louis and he had a GM in Mike Gersh was the GM, but Mo was the final baseball decision maker. And I'm not, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to diminish the job that Gersh was doing with the Cardinals. But what we think classically about the GM title, that's not what it is anymore. Classically, we would say that the general manager was the final baseball decision maker. And now the way things work out, there's this next layer that's been added in the last 10 plus years or so, where you have a president of baseball operations, and that's really the role that we used to know the GM as. So is there a scenario where he hires somebody from St. Louis? I still think that's the thing that most intrigues me about watching from afar this Mo thing. Because I have to believe that after and we mentioned this during the Gas House Gang, and Redbird Rush Hour, I'm not just trying to repeat the things that I've already said today, but I have to believe, and I've never talked to Mo about this, so maybe I'm completely off base on this. I'm just talking at this from a understanding human beings standpoint. You put that much into an organization, you want to have a voice in what the organization looks like after you're gone. You want to feel like your executive tree, a branch off that tree is still there. And there are a lot of Mo people that are still employed by the St. Louis Cardinals. It's actually one of the things that I most appreciate about Chaim Bloom, because he was put in a situation in Boston where he walked in there and there were probably a lot of people in that organization that remained in the organization that you just read things. They probably were not real loyal to Chaim. So he had, there's a lot going on in Boston that was kind of pushing back against him. And I think he had some people probably in that front office that were not always pulling in the same direction that he was. So if you have that experience as an executive and then you go get that next job, for me, if I had the Boston experience that I think Chaim had, where maybe there were some trust issues with people in the organization, I'm walking into St. Louis and I'm saying, I want all my guys here. I want every single person that's going to be employed in baseball operations is going to be somebody I know and somebody that I 100%, without a doubt, fully trust. And he brought in a lot of people. They added a ton of staff. There's a lot of people in the organization that he was very familiar with. But there's also a lot of people in the organization that he did not hire, that he got to know, that he sat down with and figured out, okay, is this a good match? Is this going to be a good relationship? Is this somebody who can continue to help the St. Louis Cardinals get better? And he kept them on, and maybe he looked at their skill set and he looked at what they were able to do well and what they were not able to do well and adjusted what the role might be. But I really appreciate Chaim for that there are many people that he did not have a prior relationship with in the Cardinals organization that kept their jobs or kept a job after he came in. Now, I'd say the difference is he had time in the organization, right? Like he did his basically year-long audit of the organization, so he was around and getting to know people. And then he came in for the year in Mo's final year where he was laying all the infrastructure and doing everything that needed to be done to really lift up the player development system. So he got to know people during that time, leading into the point where he was going to be hiring a lot more people. Perhaps, I think it's fair to say, perhaps if it would have been a situation where John Mozeliak walks out the door and a little while longer Chaim Bloom walks in the door and there wasn't that crossover period, there might have been, because at that point there's urgency to get people in positions. Maybe there's a bunch of people right now who are in this organization that would not still be there because there wasn't the time to get to know them. So that might be another one of the benefits for the way the Cardinals went through that plan of having Mo stick around for 1 year while Chaim had already been named the next president of baseball operations. We will take a break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears in a pretty big way as we're going to talk some college football. SEC Football Media Days going on right now in Tampa. Cody Goodwin covers Mizzou football for Power Mizzou, and he joins us coming up in just a moment. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Onyx, I keep having stomach issues. Please make me a doctor's appointment.
Okay, are you suffering from diarrhea, bloating, gas, or oily stools? If so, you may want to ask your doctor if it could actually be a problem with your pancreas, called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI.
My pancreas? How is EPI treated?
A prescription medicine like Creon, pancrelipase, is used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes. Creon is the #1 prescribed treatment for EPI.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules, as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. You can learn more at 1-800-633-9110.
Before your appointment, visit creoninfo.com. That's CREON info.com.
You know, most sellers put their home on the market and they just wait to see what happens. Well, I'm Kevin Wheeler, and I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one that I trust. That's Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
Let's take a break. Good idea. Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block anti-citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch, prepare governance.
If you're having a major project done at your house, it can be a long process. It can be kind of tedious or frustrating, and hopefully, though, when it's all done, you can stand back and look and think, oh my gosh, this is an incredible improvement. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, though, if you choose the wrong company. That's why I'm telling you that if you're thinking about a major project in your outdoor space, even a minor project, call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, because Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. They only use the highest quality products. They have their own installation crews with years of experience. That is extremely important. And Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 58 years, a quality company, and they offer value. They're not going to be your cheapest bid, but they're going to be the best, and it's going to last for years to come, so you can stand back and think, money well spent. They'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterey. Stop by and visit them, or visit them online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck.
Today, the Cards, the Angels.
Ameren Total Access 8:15. First pitch 9:10.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. We have you for our full 2 hours tonight because the Cardinals are playing late night West Coast baseball. They match up against the Angels this evening at 9:10 first pitch. Our coverage will begin at 8:15. We're going to jump away from Cardinals talk for just a moment, and we'll talk Mizzou football. SEC Media Days are going on right now in Tampa. Cody Goodwin covers Mizzou for Power Mizzou. You can follow him on Twitter at Cody Goodwin, CODYGOODWIN. And Cody joins us right now on the program. Cody, thanks for taking some time with us today. How are you?
I'm doing great. The fact that you guys pivoted away from the Cardinals to talk Mizzou means there might be something big we need to discuss, yeah?
Well, there's a few things for sure as Media Days going on right now. And I guess the big story of the day was the fact that Ahmad Hardy evidently has been fully cleared and good to go. That's a huge thing for this program.
Massive thing for this program. And I think it's important to point out as well, he's been cleared, I think, now to embark on his football or return to football recovery, right? I think Drinkwitz was even, cautiously optimistic as he was revealing the news this morning. But he even said it's still a 5 to 8 week process now for Ahmad Hardy to really get back to, full football field. And so when we're talking 5 to 8 weeks, you pull out your calendar, that could be before the season opener against Arkansas Pine Bluff on September 3rd. That could also be after they play Kansas on September 11th, right? So there's still a little bit of haziness, I suppose, in terms of when he'll actually be ready full go. But I'll tell you what, during fall camp, which is going to start, early August, we are going to have our eyes on that running back room. That's for sure.
He was shot. Like the first thing was he is still alive, and that's the most important part of this. We can move to the football stuff after we know that he's going to be alive and he's going to be able to live his life in a pretty normal way. So with all that other stuff being knocked through, it's remarkable that this guy was shot and he might be available for the first game of the season.
Oh, it's absolutely remarkable. And then when you consider the fact that Drinkwitz even allowed earlier today that, not only was he shot, but the bullet hit a bone and there was some reconstructive surgery initially. And it's a remarkable story of, that's still being written, obviously. But, all indications suggest that Ahmad Hardy is going to be back playing football, perhaps early in the season, but absolutely during the thick of SEC play when Mizzou begins that portion of their schedule at the end of September. So it's remarkable. It's an amazing piece of news. And, obviously the first thing is, hey, Ahmad Hardy's good. He's okay. But now the fact that he's going to be playing football in the SEC this season, I don't know that words can describe exactly how amazing it is.
What kind of expectations does this program have for themselves internally? Because last year they probably didn't reach them. They've been on an incredible, multi-year run going into last year, and some injuries really got them. But when they look at this season, where do they want to see themselves?
I think this is a team that wants to give themselves a chance to play meaningful games late in the season, right? And so, what does that mean? You look at, the 12-team playoff that has kind of expanded the field of teams that are, in the thick of the playoff race, so to speak, near the end of the season. And we're talking, November. And so what do you have to do to position yourselves to do that? Well, in Missouri's case, you probably need to get to November with no more than 2 losses. And even then, if that's the case, you're kind of, walking a tightrope in terms of playoff contention with 2 losses before November. However, if you can get to November with 1 or even 2 losses, you get 3 of your final 4 games at home, but you also get matchups against Texas, who's presumably going to be the nation's number 1 team this season. You have to go to Georgia. The SEC goes through Athens, whether we like to admit it or not. And then they finish the season with Oklahoma. That's a returning playoff team last season. So if they have 2 losses going into November, there's an opportunity there for them to kind of recoup some goodwill when it comes to playoff contention, so to speak. But it also puts them in a position to perhaps make a true playoff push. And if Missouri can do that going into November, if they can kind of give the fans a real reason to believe and give themselves, a chance to truly make a push, I think they'll be pretty happy with how this season goes.
And we've said this for multiple years when you look at the SEC schedule for the team, and they play Texas, they play Georgia, they play Texas A&M, they play some of the biggest teams in the league and the teams that have highest expectations. But it also does feel like it is an opportunity to accumulate some wins if they can put together a season like they would want to have.
Yeah, because accumulating those wins is something that Drinkwitz has struggled with over his Missouri tenure, right? I mean, you look at last season. Last season was maybe a more exaggerated or stark example of it, but they went 8-5. They did not beat a team with a winning record all year. And, they ended up losing to some pretty heavy hitters, right? Alabama made the playoff. Texas A&M made the playoff. Oklahoma made the playoff. Vanderbilt won 10 wins. Virginia was in the ACC championship game. So it's not like they're bad losses, but, that's the ceiling that Mizzou needs to break through if they truly want to be a team that makes a playoff push, if they truly want to be in that conversation in November when it really, that it kind of matters to be in that conversation at that time of the year. So, they're going to have opportunities through October in order to pick up some of those wins. But, really those wins mean a lot more as long as they take care of business at the beginning of the season as well. So I hate to go all coach speak on you and say they need to take it game by game, but, there is a certain aspect to it. When you look at the non-conference schedule, they have to go to Lawrence. That's obviously an important game. And then they open SEC play on the road in Starkville. And I know Mississippi State hasn't been the best team in the SEC the last few years, but that is no gimme. That Mississippi State team took both Texas and Tennessee to overtime in Starkville. They also beat Arizona State, who won the Big 12 a couple years ago, in Starkville. Like that's not going to be an easy game, and that's a heck of a way to open conference play.
I feel like this. We're talking with Cody Goodwin from Power Mizzou. I feel like this is a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless. So much focus is put on the Kansas game, and that rivalry means so much to the program, to the fans. It's great that these two teams are playing, but also that's the game that doesn't mean as much to them in terms of them wanting to accomplish getting to an SEC championship game, getting into a college football playoff. All those things are so much more dictated by other games. It's just, to me, it's interesting how much focus is put on that Kansas game where, from a big picture standpoint, so much more can be accomplished from the other games.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and it's a rivalry game, right? I mean, everybody knows the history of Missouri and Kansas, literally going all the way back to the Civil War, right? Like, yeah. I mean, blood has been shed over that state rivalry. So, and then they, after Mizzou moved to the SEC, they didn't play for 14 years, and so now that I think it's back, and there was a ton of excitement in Columbia for that game last season. Kansas had a pretty scrappy team with a very talented quarterback, but Missouri obviously put that defense on display. And after a few first half mistakes, they won an exciting ball game. And so, it's a rivalry game. You want to beat your rivals. You want to beat your rivals that you've hated for more than 100 years, right? So I think that's the reason for the importance. But I think there is also, you made a good point too. The greater scheme of the season, right, is to compete for the SEC championship and to contend for a spot in the 12-team playoff. And beating Kansas maybe doesn't mean as much when you think of the greater picture. But at the same time, if you lose to Kansas, we've got a lot bigger issues maybe to talk about with this Missouri team. And, if they lose to Kansas, they are certainly not in any position to probably contend for the SEC or a playoff spot. So, we like to assign games as like, this is a big test for, Team A. I would consider the Kansas game, it's a road game, it's a rivalry game. I would consider it a pop quiz, whereas the game in Starkville 2 weeks later, that to me is the true first big test for Missouri this season.
I saw Drink went on Sirius XM today, did the what's the best thing that comes out of the state of Kansas, I-70, what do you call a good-looking girl in Kansas, a tourist. So he's already ready to go with everything that he needs to say in front of that game.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think he even went a step further, and this might be sore subject in St. Louis, but he poked fun at both the Rams and the Chiefs because both of them, the Rams obviously left the state and the Chiefs are in the process of leaving, and he kind of planted his flag and said, hey, like, we're Missouri's team, we're the state's team, come support us. This is what we do here, right? We're not leaving, we're not going anywhere. So there's a lot of pride when it comes to the fact that they're Missouri and they're also Missouri's team.
Is there any pressure on him right now? He got the extension. It feels like if he ever wanted to leave, there'd be an opportunity out there for him. How do you assess any type of pressure that actually exists for him in this season?
I think there's a little bit of pressure on him, and I think it's, is it going to be a hot seat situation if they really fumble this season and only win 7 games, or cripes, they have a losing record or something to that effect? That might change the conversation going into off season next year, and we'll cross that bridge if we get there. But I think the pressure on him this year is that for the first time, I think, since he's been at Mizzou, he finally got the quarterback that he ID'd and wanted to go after in the transfer portal, right? Like, this is a guy the last few years that did everything in his power to recruit over Brady Cook. He was able to get Jaden Daniels, the future Heisman winner, on campus, couldn't close the deal. Same thing with Fernando Mendoza, another future Heisman winner, couldn't close the deal. This was, this offseason, very first day the portal opened, Missouri identified Austin Simmons as their guy. They went and got him. And not only did they go get him, but, they had to make some staff hires this offseason as well since Kirby Moore left to go to Washington State. So they brought in Chip Lindsey, who has a history of quarterback development with guys like Drake May and Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham and Nick Mullins, but then also went and got Garrett Riley, former offensive coordinator at Clemson, at TCU, at SMU. He was the Broyles Award winner as the nation's top assistant coach. He helped TCU get to the national championship game not too long ago. So, not only did he ID his quarterback and go get him, but he also surrounded him with a coaching staff that in theory is going to get the most out of him. And so I think that's where the pressure is. It's like, hey, man, you finally got your guy. It's a really talented quarterback. Can that elevate your offense to the point where you can win some of these big games? And if they can't, then they probably need to reassess some things or, we'll cross those bridges when we get there. But if they do, then it's like, okay, now he finally got his dude. He got his dude in place and it worked out the way he thought it would. That maybe changes the trajectory of Mizzou moving forward.
Last thing for you, I've seen griping about SEC football media days being in Tampa. What say you? Good site or not a good site for this event?
I'm probably not a good person to ask because I'm a little indifferent. It kind of stinks that it's not in an SEC city, because when it's in Atlanta, Georgia fans are not very far away, and Alabama and Auburn folks are a day's drive away. So there's a little bit more, quote unquote fanfare. When it's in Nashville, that's a really fun SEC city, not just because Vanderbilt's there, but, they host SEC men's basketball. So, Kentucky fans drive in, Tennessee fans drive in. So there is probably it's fun when it's in an SEC city, but the fact that it's down here in Florida, maybe I would feel a little different if it wasn't rainy outside, and I could actually enjoy some of the sunshine down here on the Gulf. But it is what it is.
Cody and the rest of the team at Power Mizzou do an incredible job covering Mizzou athletics, part of the 24/7 Sports Network, which is absolutely amazing. If you're a Mizzou fan, you should be subscribed to Power Mizzou for sure. Follow Cody on Twitter at Cody Goodwin. I know it's a really busy time. Thank you for finding some time with us, and hopefully we can check in with you every once in a while over the course of the football season.
I appreciate you guys reaching out. Hope to chat with you a lot this season. Could be a fun one.
Awesome. Very good. Thanks, Cody. Cody Goodwin joining us here on the program, and we appreciate him spending a few moments with us. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of the program, and then we'll have one more hour to go as we lead you into Cardinals baseball tonight. Cardinals opening up a series in Anaheim against the Angels. We've got more in just a moment. This is a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Doug.
Hot dog! Get your hot dog!
Customize! Customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Hey, what are you doing?
I like your method. Direct. To the point. A little loud, but...
Listen, people don't buy car insurance the same way they do hot dogs.
Not yet, but both are customizable.
Popcorn! Get your popcorn!
Hey, this is a hot dog area.
And customize and save area. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local agent.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Summer is officially here, and that means the family internet, it is working overtime. All our lives are always online, and that's why I rely on i3 broadband. Traditional cable just can't keep up, but i3 delivers 100% true fiber directly into my home for ultra smooth, reliable performance. Plus, they're a local provider that actually treats you like a neighbor. Skip the fake fiber. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 broadband is here for you.
Get ready for a night back with legendary hits and non-stop energy. Brian Adams is bringing the Roll with a Bunches tour to Enterprise Center Friday, July 24th.
Hello, this is Brian Adams.
Sing along to the classics as Brian Adams delivers an unforgettable night of rock anthems. Plus, special guests Pat Benatar and Neil Girardo. Brian Adams, July 24th. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed. Your property taxed. Everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
I got my first real six-string.
Brian Adams. Roll with the Punches Tour 2026. A night full of hits. Live this Friday at Enterprise Center. With special guest Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
About 2 minutes left here in hour number 1 of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line, but we have a full 2-hour program today, so that means we've got more coming up in the 7 o'clock hour on the show at about 7:05, so just after the 7 o'clock news. Kyle Reese is going to be with us. We'll talk with him about the Cardinals, what they did in the draft, and also go through some prospect news. We'll talk through Brandon Clark hitting 103 miles per hour. Just the second left-hander in the StatCast era to ever do that, Aroldis Chapman being the other. So pretty heady stuff, and it just goes to show you the kind of talent that this organization is bringing in. And the draft got rave reviews from just about everybody out there on what the Cardinals were able to do. And, yeah, it's what's fun right now. Kevin and I were talking about this during Redbird Rush Hour with Bernie as well. I mean, you think about the dudes who are on the cusp of the big leagues. We've had some people on this, who have listened to this show and comment on this show who so often say, we'll see that guy in 4 years. We'll see that guy in 5 years. The Cardinals are years in. There's dudes in the lower minor leagues who it's going to be a while. And Brandon Clark is one of them. He's a very young guy, and he's playing single-A baseball. But you think about the impact, the potentially impactful players. We don't know if they'll be impactful or not, but the potentially impactful players that are very, very close. The Quinn Matthews, who have really, he's turned it on here recently, which has been great to see. Bryson Montz, Gerangelo Saincha just made his AAA debut. That means he's probably in the running for a big league job next year in spring training. From a position player standpoint, we know about Joshua Baez, and even though he's slumping a little bit right now at AAA, especially from an average standpoint, he's likely to be an impactful player. Leo Bernal isn't likely to be an impactful player. And then you get down to AA, and AA guys are just a sneeze away from the big leagues themselves. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited about some of these players in this organization. We'll talk about that with Kyle coming up after the 7 o'clock news here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Energy consumption by data centers is a major issue confronting further expansion, and NVIDIA is hoping to solve that issue in a potential collaboration with Japan's Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. Nikkei News reports that NVIDIA is looking to use Mitsubishi's cooling systems and energy management equipment in AI data centers, with the high-efficiency systems crucial for NVIDIA achieving maximum processor performance. I'm Jason Brooks.
If you own a business, you've heard it all. From fast funding to easy approvals, everyone says the same thing. LendSeek is different. We show you what you actually qualify for. LendSeek's AI-enabled platform matches you with funding options with no guesswork. Up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours. If you've been in business over a year, doing at least $50,000 per month, apply for free with zero out-of-pocket costs and access to over 100 lenders. Start ready, stay ready. Lendseek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Hey there, baseball fans. You got a feeling about who's going to hit a home run today? Well, don't just sit on it. FanDuel wants you to call your shot with daily dingers, and all you have to do is make your pick on who's going to hit a home run, and if you're right, you're going to get a free profit boost to use on your next bet for a shot at bigger winnings. So now, when your favorite slugger hits that walk-off, you're going to feel like a winner, too. Daily dingers on FanDuel, free to play, and if you can lock in a pick every day of the MLB season, you might as well do it. FanDuel is the home for home runs. Check out Daily Dingers at FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel.com/Missouri. Big hits can mean bigger winnings on FanDuel, an official partner of MLB. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. A memorial service in Ocean Springs, Mississippi today for Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old who died after a July 4th boat trip. Wells' mother, Christine Wansley, spoke at the service.
Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing.
A new round of severe weather moving toward the Midwest and East Coast. Parts of the upper Midwest facing the threat of damaging winds and possible tornadoes. ABC meteorologist Ginger Z on rough weather in Utah.
More than 400 severe storm reports since Friday. In Beaver County, Utah, monsoon thunderstorms dropping up to 1.5 inches straight on the recent Cottonwood burn scar, triggering flash flooding. The murky, blackened waters carrying the wildfire's remains.
A Connecticut dog named Bella got a legislative honor for shielding a little boy from a charging bear July 4th. Bella will also get a steak as a bravery reward. This is ABC News. Across the pond, Andy Burnham has officially been sworn in as the new British Prime Minister.
I know people at home are fed up with politics. I hear you, and I want to be honest with you. We have not been good enough, and we need to be better.
He's the country's 7th leader in the last decade.
There was no Labour leadership contest. There was no general election. He was brought in by the Labour Party because he seemed to have the charisma that Keir Starmer lacks. But he was mayor of a major city in Britain, but he's reasonably untested, especially on the international stage. He comes to Downing Street with wars in Iran, in Ukraine, in Gaza, and of course having to navigate that difficult relationship with the President of the United States.
ABC's James Longman. Southeastern Conference Commissioner Greg Sankey says the SEC is having serious conversations about breaking away from the NCAA. He says school presidents are frustrated over things like new eligibility rules and transparency around player payments. I'm Stephanie Officer, ABC News.
At 7:02, we've still got sunshine. It is 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. Attorney General Catherine Hanaway opens up on her investigation into a former Missouri congresswoman.
Attorney General Hanaway confirmed she is investigating former Congresswoman Cori Bush for whether anything illegal was done when Bush solicited donations to her nonprofit for tornado relief, while the same nonprofit was donating to her political action committee that also made payments to Bush and her husband directly. Hanaway says they are looking into how the money came into the nonprofit and how it came out related to both tornado relief and political donations.
If there were contributions from both, what did the expenditures look like relative to both? I mean, there's a lot of facts to be learned yet.
Hanaway says she doesn't want to make any assumptions and will go where the investigation takes her. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
It took less than a minute for Big Boy, the world's largest operating steam locomotive, to pass hundreds of people along its whistle-stop tour. Maria Kina right there in the St. Louis area along the tracks as history passed by.
How long have you been out here so far?
Feels like 5 hours.
But really?
Like probably an hour maybe.
Have you ever seen Big Boy before?
I have not.
Are you a train fan?
You could say so.
Well, it's the first time I've ever seen Big Boy, so it's a nice experience, I would say.
Are you a big train fan?
My grandpa was, so I would say I am. I have seen pictures, nothing in person though, so I think the in person is more fun than the actual pictures.
Definitely a lot of American history, definitely something to be proud to be a part of.
In Webster Groves, Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Kansas City International Airport is looking at the impact of the World Cup on its traffic.
The airport had a record number of outbound travelers on July 12th, with 24,266 people. That breaks the previous record of 23,678 set May 18th of this year. The airport says the World Cup contributed to multiple high-volume days there. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
Oberweis opens up a new ice cream shop in Glen Carbon. The shop opened on Friday at 2443 Troy Road, the sixth location in the St. Louis area. The first store to be opened on the Illinois side, as well as the first move by the brand since Oberweis was acquired by the Hoffman family of companies in 2024. The forecast overnight, clear sky, low 78 degrees. For tomorrow, sunshine, hot, humid, some spot storms too, and a high of 95. Spot storms into tomorrow night. Winds turn to the north, low 71. And for Wednesday and Thursday, partly sunny and a lot less humid, a lot cooler. Should be nice, says Dave Murray. High both days of 84. Right now, downtown at the Arch, we've got sunshine. It's 89, but the feels like is 93. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We do roll on as we get into hour number 2 of the program. We got you for a while because we'll do this hour and then we'll jump into Cardinals pregame at 8:15. Cardinals tonight, they open up a series in Anaheim against the Angels. Kyle Leahy against Jose Soriano. That is the pitching matchup. One of my favorite people to be able to talk to. He is a fantastic follow on Twitter. He's all over the place in terms of where he is contributing to as well. He does a podcast with Brian Walton over at the Cardinal Nation, which if you're into prospects and everything going on across player development, it's a must listen to. And then he's just a fun follow all the way around. He's Kyle Reese at KyleR416 on Twitter. He joins us right now via the Quiver River Electric guest line. Hi, Kyle.
Matt, it is a pleasure to talk to you, sir. I look forward to these talks every time you reach out.
I'm glad that you said yes, and I was out last week. I took some time off for the All-Star break, so I haven't been able to, on this program specifically, really dive in too much into the draft and what took place. And really, there's so much going on in player development, and we've seen some promotions lately here that are notable. So many places for us to go. Let's start, though, with the draft. Just from a really general standpoint, it seems like industry-wide, the Cardinals are getting rave reviews for what they were able to do in the draft. Do you agree with those?
I couldn't agree more. I tend to I try my hardest to be as objective when it comes to these matters as possible, but it's hard not to get excited about all of these draft picks from rounds 1 to round 20, but specifically the day 1 guys, rounds 1 through 4. There is a tremendous amount of versatility and a tremendous amount of widespread talent of different varying kinds in this group. And I found myself with each and every pick, specifically in day 1, getting more and more excited and feeling more and more like the Cardinals scouting staff and player development staff had accomplished something that was maybe a little bit special, or at least has the potential to be special, because, of course, you just never know how the Major League Baseball draft is going to turn out.
What is happening in the draft now that maybe was not happening in the draft when the prior regime was in place?
Well, I would say that with this new regime in particular, with what Mr. Rob Cerfolio and Mr. Day do on the player development side, and of course what Mr. Flores and Mr. Zach Mortimer do on the draft side, the amateur scouting side, I think that there is a certain amount of cohesion between the two groups. There's communication and there's respect amongst the groups that wasn't there in the past. And it's not to say that was like there was no respect or anything like that. It's just these two groups get along extremely well, and they both have an eye towards modern baseball, what's going to work in baseball these days. So one thing that sticks out is, entering maybe 3 years ago, what we would see under Mr. Gary LaRocque, who ran the Cardinals farm system, there would be an urgency or an interest in getting pitchers specifically who threw strikes and kept the ball on the ground without much of an emphasis on big fastballs or the ability to strike people out. And as we've seen in Major League Baseball, and as we've seen with the Cardinals, quite honestly, over the last couple of years, that just doesn't work the way that it used to. The bats in Major League Baseball are too good to combat the sinker that rolls bats over. So, and with this class in particular, with the last class, the 2025, and then we started to see some of this in 2024, the Cardinals have definitely started to seek out pitchers with big fastballs that'll play in both a starter role and a bullpen role if they make it to the majors in that capacity. And they also highlight interesting release characteristics. I know the old school fan doesn't really get into vertical approach angle or anything like that, but basically the gist is they all throw the ball from an interesting angle that helps the fastball play up and helps its movement profile seem even more wonky to hitters than it might otherwise coming from traditional angles. So they are definitely looking at that. And then the other thing that they did in this draft that's been a little bit different than other drafts is they highlighted and drafted some prep bats with big stuff and big athleticism to dream on. And of course, having extra picks allowed them to do that. But those are just a couple of things that stick out right off the top, including some really interesting hit tools with body and bat speed to build power on top of.
One of those prep bats was their number 1 pick, going 13 overall. Trevor Condon, a high school outfielder coming out of the state of Georgia. He's already signed. He signed for just a little bit under the slot for that number 13 pick. There's been some comparisons to Pete Crow Armstrong on him. Is that a valid comparison?
From a personality standpoint, 100%. Maybe what I mean by that is not some of the rougher around the edges parts of Pete Crow Armstrong's personality. I don't want that to come across. But he's a young man, 18 years old, who's very confident in himself. He's very confident in his abilities. He's also very, very charming. And he also is very, very dedicated to becoming a great baseball player. Those are the things that he has in common with what was a prep drafted Pete Crow Armstrong in 2020. I would say, of course, the main difference now, when Pete Crow Armstrong was drafted, there were some concerns that he might not ever get into power, and as we know, he's found his power. But that's kind of the same thing with Condon. I will say that thinking back on 2020 and comparing him to Condon now, I do think his Condon's bat-to-ball skills are ahead of where Pete Crow Armstrong's was in 2020, but I don't think it's as easy to envision the power surge. But the way that they play the game, kind of, hair lit on fire, never taking a play off, going about it every minute of every day, even behind the scenes, that is something that they very, very much have in common. It's just Condon, I would say, is just maybe a little bit more perceived at least to be down to earth and maybe more acceptable to a Cardinals fan base.
The club had so many first day picks, which helped them in just the number of picks and also the pool money that they were able to be allotted because of that. Their second pick coming there between the first and second rounds was the Tennessee pitcher Tegan Kuhns. They seem to be they like what's coming out of the University of Tennessee, evidently, with what they've done recently. But he's another guy. Because he's a college guy, probably a little bit on the fast track. But man, this profiles as a guy who could be something special.
Yeah, and he's still young. There's still plenty of muscle to put on him and plenty of projection to help fill out his frame. But this is again another big fastball. It's not 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he lives in the 94, 96 mile per hour range. It has good release characteristics. But what he really does well that is kind of buried in behind his fastball is, other than throwing strikes, which he does really well, he knows how to use what I call the black of the zone, the outside of the zone. He knows how to use that really well, but he's also shown the ability to spin a couple of really interesting breaking balls. Most scouts agree that his slider is his best off-speed offering, and it's hard to argue that, but he did have success as the Tennessee season wore on, incorporating a curveball a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And in some instances, it became his primary off-speed offering. So he has two breaking pitches along with at least an average, probably closer to above average, potentially plus with strength and conditioning fastball to add to at least two breaking pitches that are interesting and can be built up to minor league capable and thus hopefully major league capable at some point. But yeah, again, the through line here too is the Cardinals were very, very aggressive about drafting players that are driven for the most success that they can get. And I know that seems like a very generic statement, but Tegan Kuhns wants to be a winner. He wants to win a World Series. He wants to be the best pitcher on a pitching staff. And it's very clear when you hear him talk that that's his driving force. And that's a through line with a lot of the draft picks that the Cardinals made.
I am a very proud graduate of Kansas State University, so tell me something absolutely wonderful about D. Kennedy, who they selected in the fourth round.
Well, my first thing is he's my favorite of all the draft picks.
Yes,
I'm not saying that he is going to be the best of the group. I'm not saying, although I do think he has the potential to maybe be the first of the position players to make a major league debut. I do think there's a chance of that. But for me, D. Kennedy is just like a magical marriage of athleticism and baseball savvy and IQ and strength. And really the only knock on him and why he would fall to the fourth round of the Cardinals is that he has some contact issues, making contact in the zone specifically. But it comes with this weird trade-off where he flashes good pull side power, but also a good batter's eye at what pitches to swing at inside of the zone and outside of the zone. So, one thing that's been made of this draft pick of D. Kennedy is he had LASIK between his last two seasons in college, and that was part of why he jumped on the scene and had such a great 2026 season at K-State, was the LASIK surgery. But I think that we're just now seeing him get into the player he's capable of being. And just watching some of the strides that so many athletic hitters have made in the Cardinals organization during the 2026 season makes me believe that there's, you have the athleticism, you have the brains, you have the drive, and also a versatility all throughout the infield, which would almost certainly project throughout the outfield. He just has the makings of the prototypical, not like super utility player, but utility player at the major league level that outkicks his coverage, who outkicks his projections. And I cannot say enough about how exciting he is to watch, how fun he is to watch, and how smart he is when you hear him talk.
Two top 5 round picks have not signed yet, and they're both really, really interesting guys. Second round pick, Rocco Maniscalco. He's a high school kid out of the state of Alabama. Super young. It feels like they've signed a bunch of these under slot deals in an attempt to have money to sign him. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. My understanding, and I'm not one to have a whole lot of information, is there isn't much of a concern with signing Rocco Maniscalco, the incredibly athletic and talented and young and raw, certain shortstop. But they have been part of their selections. Part of what they did in the draft was in order to give him a pretty substantial bonus over his slot, which I think was right around $1.9 million or so. My guess or my understanding, however you want to take it, is it's going to be a little over. He's going to get a bonus a little over $3 million, maybe closer to $3.5 million, somewhere in that group. But you have to pay for this kind of talent. When you're talking about a kid who reclassified from the 2027 draft to be eligible for 2026, who is the youngest player in this draft and who is just tooled up beyond belief. And I have belief that Mr. Maniscalco has the ability to follow, and it might not mean much to the audience, but, Cam Collier was a first-round draft pick a couple years back by the Cincinnati Reds. He was an infielder, and he was one of the youngest player of that draft. I think it was a 2024 draft, and I could very well see him following in those footsteps, maybe having some really raw, tough moments next year when he makes his organizational debut. But he's going to be loud with his tools when he does, if he does grow into them, because everything about him is smooth.
UCLA pitcher Cal Randall was selected in the 5th round. From a pitch attribute standpoint, it seems like he was one of one in this draft, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, that fastball is the best fastball in the 2026 draft. And I don't think that there's a scout or a metrics hound that could make an argument against it. And that should have Cardinal Nation extremely happy. Now, of course, the question is, why would he last as long as he did? It's because even as perfect as that fastball is, there are some strike-throwing questions. A lot of teams view him as a relief-only prospect. And when you're talking about a relief-only prospect, the obviously command becomes even more important. But it's my understanding that the Cardinals, when they do sign him, when he does get in, as they start to get him in strength and conditioning, start to get the player development staff with him, the intent is to work him out as a starter, at least at first, and see where it goes. But yeah, when your fastball is so good that you can throw it 90% of the time in major Division I collegiate sports and major D1 college baseball, and still be the best relief pitcher in all of college baseball, one of the 5 or 10 best relief pitchers in college baseball, that should tell you all you need to know about how good this pitch is. But what it'll come down to is he also throws a changeup and a cutter, and how those pitches evolve and what the Cardinals decide to build around it. But it's a loud fastball, and if it doesn't work out as a starter, there's no reason to think he couldn't be on the fast track to the major leagues out of the bullpen.
Just a few more minutes with Kyle Reese. Jumping over to players who are currently in the organization, and I'm really intrigued by the fact that this Memphis rotation right now, because Durangelo Saincha just got there. Quinn Matthews has been on a run. Hunter Dobbins is there. We've seen him in the big leagues. Bryson Motts is involved. Have you seen in your time covering, and even the bullpen a little bit as well for Memphis, it feels like there are more just about ready major league pitchers who potentially can have an impact at the big league level that are just sitting there. How impressive is this group right now at Memphis?
Oh, it's throughout this. Not to take the Memphis out of it real quick, but the group as a whole in the system. Every night there are multiple starters going that are just like there's never a dull night on the farm.
Yeah.
At least 2 starters every night throughout the system is making a start that is must-watch TV. And that starts with, of course, the group at Memphis. For me, it's the conversation of who has the best chance to make an impact with a major league club the soonest is easily, without a doubt, Quinn Matthews. He, a couple of months ago, he got shelled. It was really bad. He didn't make it out of the second inning. But then all of a sudden, he got his mechanics more in sync. He was working a little bit quicker in his windup, and we saw his entire arsenal measure better. And we saw him get to better velocity, more consistent, better velocity. And he's pretty well kept that up for about 2 months now. And every start just gets a little bit better and better. We've seen his walk rate decline. We've seen his strikeout rate stay consistent. But yeah, Quinn Matthews, if something happens at the deadline that would jettison one of the Cardinals starting pitchers to a different team or whatever, one way or the other, Quinn Matthews is about as close as a person can be to be ready for that call when it comes. And then it's so funny when you look at the rest of that group, because then you have Mason Molina, who's a lefty, but a little bit different. And then, like you said, Bryson Motts, who's kind of pitching out of the bullpen now, probably getting ready for whatever his role ends up being when he makes it back to the majors. But then, like, Durangelo Saincha, which is a whole different beast. And Pete Hansen, who's a lefty, who's a whole different beast. And, it's a fun group to watch. on any given night, you can turn it on. And even though a lot of these guys are still struggling with their command, still struggling to harness the Major League Baseball that they use at AAA and only in the majors in AAA and not below it, it's a little bit different, a little harder to throw. Starting to harness that, trying to learn how to harness that. But it is fun on any given night. But really that group is led by Quinn because it still feels like the rest of the group is just a little bit behind Quinn. But Mr. Matthews has been there for a while, so it makes sense that he would be a little ahead of the group.
The biggest prospect story of the last week, maybe the last month, Brandon Clark goes out and hits 103 on the gun, and he's still a really long ways away. But when you see that, and you know he's just the second lefty behind Aroldis Chapman to hit that number in the Statcast era of baseball, that is something that it almost feels like he represents the change of what's happening right now in this organization.
Yeah, at this very moment, he is the poster child for how things have changed. And he helps answer the question that you asked earlier about, what's been different in the draft. Well, these are the arms that they're going after, the guys who can get up to 103, who can get up to 100, who have pitches that are unique in shape and in movement, pitches that, are elite by all measurable standpoints. It's just a matter of getting the rest of it to work around it. I had heard maybe about a month ago, maybe about 2 months ago, that he was throwing and that they were trying to hold him back a little bit because he was hitting 100 and he was not at the point in his rehab to be hitting 100. But he was throwing so smooth and easy that it wasn't like an aggressive 100. It was just him throwing. And I was told that when he would eventually make his debut, that he was going to be the guy that everybody talked about. And it took him 2 appearances. And now all we're talking about is this 22-year-old lefty with immense stuff. And, we're talking about the 103-mile-an-hour sinker with incredible depth and break. And really, it's like that pitch, which is unique and one of the best pitches in the entire organization, might not even be his best pitch. He throws a sweeper that is every bit as nasty as the sinker, and those 2 pitches work in unison incredibly well together. And there's also talk that he might have more than just the 4 pitches that he showed in his last start. He had thrown a curveball in the past. He's toyed with a changeup to go along with the splitter-ish pitch that he throws. And it's one thing we've also seen the development staff do is work with all of these pitchers to maximize a full arsenal. And that's what they're doing with him. It's not just, hey, okay, you only have success throwing a sinker, a slider, a curve, or whatever the pitches are. We're going to work with you to try to diversify your arsenal, to try to get it a little bit deeper. Let's work on 5 pitches. Let's see if we can get you ready for the major leagues where even really great and talented arms need multiple pitches to get through a really good lineup. So he's one of these pitchers that are just immensely talented. The sky's the limit for. Candidly, he's also a really awesome kid that everybody raves about too. So that's worth getting excited about. And that is what it's like down on the farm on any given night with, it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 pitchers. It's really impressive.
Kyle Reese is being incredibly gracious with his time. I have held you for a really long time. I'm going to ask you one more question. I hope that's okay, and then I'll let you go. I could talk to you for hours, but you don't want to do that. The Joshua Baez thing, where here recently he's not hitting for average. It hasn't looked pretty. When he hits home runs, he still hits them a mile. A lot of Cardinals fans continue to call for him to get called up. This organization under Chaim Bloom has been very clear that they're going to be patient with guys at AAA. Like, what say you? How should we be evaluating Baez right now? And what should that timeline be for when he does get to the big leagues?
It's a fascinating conversation, and it's not the same thing. But I think what's happened with Jimmy Crooks, I think should be a little bit of a warning or maybe an eye-opening experience about how best to handle Joshua Baez. Jimmy Crooks started the year hammering baseballs, home run after home run after home run, and we were calling, Cardinal fans, myself, we were all calling for him to make it to the majors, make his 2026 debut. And he's had some good moments. He's had some raw moments. But the one thing that he and Baez have in common, not just the ability to put the ball over the fence, although they do it differently, is they both strike out a lot. They both are over-aggressive. Over-aggressive is debatable. They are aggressive swingers. And what we've seen with Josh Baez is the same thing we've seen out of Jimmy Crooks in both the minors and the majors this year. It's you might have some good moments, but you're going to get exploited at the major league level if you can't corral your batter's eye, if you can't corral your swing decisions specifically. So for me, like I would, as a fan, I would love to see Joshua Baez starting in the outfield tomorrow for the St. Louis Cardinals. I would. But as an honest evaluator, as someone who wants the best for each and every one of the prospects and who wants the best for the long-term interest of the St. Louis Cardinals, until Joshua Baez proves for more than just like a month at a time that he can be a major league contributor by lowering his strikeout rate in the minors and making more consistent strikes or more consistent contact in the minors, it's tough to make a valid argument that he should be up here starting every day for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then it gets to the whole, if he's not going to start every day for the Cardinals, where is his best spot? You know, it's still at AAA, still developing, still getting to a point that when he makes his major league debut, you don't have to necessarily worry about sending him back down next year or putting him on a similar, a very, 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 very dicey development trajectory that you did with Jordan Walker that is just so happens to be working out now, especially because Mr. Baez has never really showed in the minors. Even some of the warning signs that we have with Jordan Walker, he's never showed that level of contact and skill in the batter's eye. So it's a delicate balance. As a fan, yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him yesterday. But, as an evaluator and what the Cardinals are doing with him, I cannot complain about it. He's not really doing the best job other than on short spurts of seizing the opportunity.
Kyle, you are the absolute best. Folks can follow you on Twitter at KyleR416. People need to be tuned in for what you do with Brian Walton every week. Thank you so much for your time. We will do this again soon, and maybe next time I won't hold you for a full half hour.
Hey, it's my pleasure. You can have me for as many hours as you need, Matt. It is a complete honor to talk to you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Yep, that's Kyle Reese joining us on the program. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll play back some of what Chaim Bloom had to say to Tom Ackerman during sports on a Sunday morning. That's next. This is Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this late-night ad to make you more alert, which could help your driving. And science tells us that pulsing beats faster, stimulating audio like traveling sound, and voices on the higher,
so-called brighter end of the audio spectrum like this can encourage focus.
Also, a familiar tune can help, so...
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When legacy automation starts impacting visibility and downtime, it may be time to consider modernization. Graybar's automation specialists work alongside your team to help you identify risks and map out realistic upgrade paths without unnecessary disruptions. Get started with a free health check of your operations and see what's possible. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Save big money at Menards. College move-in is just around the corner, and Menards has great deals on all the essentials, like storage organizers, laundry baskets, cleaning supplies, and more. Plus, find everything you need for a stylish and efficient space, including rugs, furniture, mini fridges, and other dorm room must-haves. Get ready for move-in day and head to Menards to make your space yours. And don't miss other great savings in our weekly flyer at menards.com.
Save big money at Menards.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, it's Brew, and I feel like everything in my life depends on being connected. Whether I'm uploading a video, hopping on a call before my show, or video chatting with my family back in Michigan, I never have to think about my Wi-Fi. And that's why Xfinity stands out. You get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
One city, one voice. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It's a Great Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Have about 25 more minutes to go in this program. And then at about 8:15, we will get underway with Cardinals coverage. Cardinals Angels tonight, 9:10 first pitch. That means our coverage begins at 8:15. You know, a couple of the cool things we do a lot of cool stuff here at KMOX. But a couple cool things that we do each week is we get the chance to talk with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, and we also get the chance to talk with Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. The Oliver Marmol conversation, shameless plug, comes up tomorrow, 12 noon, during the Gas House Gang, as he joins Tom and Bernie and Ranj for that each week, and takes your comments and questions. And it really is must-listen-to radio every single week. And then Chaim Bloom joins Tom during Sports on a Sunday morning every Sunday here on KMOX. What we try to do when we have Monday shows, we don't always have them because the Cardinals are playing, but with them being out west, we've got a little bit of time tonight. We try to go back through much of what was said during Heim's conversation with Tom on Sunday morning. So let's play back some of what was said, and we will start with an injury update. Cardinals right now are without JoJo Romero as he had appendicitis, which is always a very scary situation. But according to Heim, it sounds like they caught it in plenty of time where it was not as big of a deal as it potentially can be.
He's recovering well. We were fortunate with that one. This is not something that I personally have had. I'm sure many of our listeners have. I don't know if you have. But,
I haven't.
It's obviously something that can happen to anybody. It's just unfortunate, obviously, the injury and, of course, the timing as we're going through this gauntlet of 20 in a row coming out of the break. But it was something that was caught early enough that from a medical standpoint, this appears like it's going to be fairly straightforward. He was able to get out of the hospital pretty quickly. We're going to get him back to St. Louis soon. And then we just got to progress, obviously, as fast as we can without being unsafe. Again, medically, he's completely fine, but it's just really now a question of the recovery and getting him back into where he's able to execute on the mound the way that he's shown that he can. So he's going to be fine, but we're still obviously going to need to figure out as we go along exactly what that program looks like to get him back to where he needs to be.
It was a very eventful week leading up to Sunday's conversation with the All-Star game, the Home Run Derby, the draft going on, just so much taking place last week that they were able to fit into in just that 1 week's time. So let's go through a few of those things. And Heim definitely enjoyed seeing what he saw from Jordan Walker during the Home Run Derby.
That was just awesome. I mean, for obviously everybody who's listening right now knows everything that he went through to get to that stage, but then to see him take the stage, I was looking at it afterwards and when they were interviewing, and I'm thinking he's on a couch with the only two people alive who have ever hit 700 major league homers, and he's the focus. And that tells you something about what that signified as an accomplishment. And I'm just excited for him. I'm excited for our organization and for our fans just to see this organization front and center again.
Really cool visual that he makes reference to there on that Netflix postgame show after the Home Run Derby, where it was Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, and Jordan Walker sitting on a couch talking baseball, and that was cool. And, of course, his family and everybody was around as well. Leading into that week as well, I mentioned all the things that happened. We got the J.J. Weatherholt extension, and there's been a lot of people talking about could the Cardinals maybe do the same thing with a Jordan Walker? And Heim talked a bit about getting Cardinals players locked into extensions, before arbitration in those club control years, just from a very general standpoint, just making sure that you're able to keep control of the players that you develop and turn into stars and can be big parts of the organization moving forward. So he spoke generally. This wasn't specifically about Walker, but it was something that you can maybe keep in the back of your mind.
You've heard me talk about it in general terms, and obviously until we had somebody on the board, that was all we really could talk about it in. And obviously once we made that commitment with JJ, we were able to talk about him specifically. But, I think all those things that I said when we were talking about this previously still apply. Like, you're obviously looking to build the way that great Cardinals teams have always built, and players that perform, that help you win, that fit your culture. You obviously want those guys to be with you for a long time. Now, what that means specifically when you line up on that, when the right time is for an approach, what those terms might be, how that mutual desire, if there is, and there often is, how that gets expressed in terms of an extension, all that is so individual. There's a lot of different things that go into it. And, the reality is, as I said, even prior to doing the deal we did with JJ, oftentimes, for every 10, 20 conversations, there might be one of these that comes together. But, certainly it's a good sign that we're talking about it, because it means that this is starting to come into focus in terms of who are the guys that might be able to help push us where we want to go.
Even with the struggles at times of this team, you can look at guys on the roster and you can project them out as being individuals who have a good chance of being a big part of this team moving forward. And that's a fun thing to be able to dream on a little bit. You want this team to play well. You want this team to win games. You want this team to be a postseason team this year. I don't know how much of that's going to happen, but you can certainly see that scenario where J.J. Weatherholt is winning at the highest level for the Cardinals. And you hope that Jordan Walker gets to do that. And there's some other guys certainly in that bucket as well. So just going through that very busy July, very, very busy week. Chaim talked a bit about that and just about the draft in general and how good they feel about it.
Ever since the baseball calendar shifted a little bit and the draft moved right next to the All-Star break, that month of July has been some kind of gauntlet for all of us in the front office. So you get a few days during the All-Star break to remind our families that we love them, and then we're back after it. But it was a really neat opportunity, as we talked about, with having those extra picks this year and having a bunch of them, really having not necessarily the biggest bonus pool, but more selections than anybody else did on day one. And I was really happy with how it came together and how we leveraged them. Obviously, you can't control what the other clubs do around you, and you sometimes can't control where players' heads are at in terms of their signability, and that's increasingly complicated with the evolution of the college landscape. What you do control is your preparation. You control the board you build. You control how well you assess the players, how well you plan scenarios. And I was really happy with how that continues to move forward. And then what we were able to do with it on draft night. But I think it's really a testament to the preparation. When you talk about Flo and Zach Mortimer, Ty Boyles, their team, and what they're able to do in terms of leveraging a ton of different viewpoints, a ton of different information sources. There's so much more that goes into this now than when my career started. And try to use it all intelligently, use it all systematically to build the best board so that when things do get fast on draft night, or draft day in this case, you can make good decisions in the moment because you've done the work. And there was no panic in that room, and we were able to game plan a number of different scenarios. We were just really happy with how it felt. I think we have a very athletic group, and a group that just by virtue of, we didn't try to force it, but just by following our process, we were able to get a lot of different skill sets that all have a chance to help us at the big league level down the road.
So now the next thing that is going to happen is the trade deadline. And we're starting to maybe see a little bit of movement, and that will obviously pick up as we get closer and closer to, I believe it's August 3rd is when the trade deadline will take place this year. Chaim said that they always have to be prepared for opportunities, whether it's in the time leading up to the trade deadline or just handling the deadline itself.
It's a little different in my experience at the deadline, just because with the draft, obviously there's more unknowns in terms of the players because they're so far away from what they could be, but you know what day it's happening, you know when it's happening, you know when you pick, and so on and so forth. Obviously, with the deadline, it can be a little bit of a free-for-all, so it's hard to be prepared for everything, and that's why you have to, yes, do all the work and try to talk it out as much as possible, but also make sure that it's clear how you want to operate when things do get down to crunch time, and what's going to go on that day in particular, because so much of the action does go right up until the buzzer. But when you come out of the break, teams are reconnecting. You're sort of refreshing where you're at. You're refreshing where other teams are at. You want to try to get a sense of everything that might be possible. Understand who other teams have. Understand who you might want to target. Understand who wants your players and to what degree. And then you're really just constantly doing work leading up until the buzzer just to make sure you are prepared for anything. I've had years in my career where I've been in rooms where there are things that pop up within a couple hours of the deadline that didn't seem to be at all possible even the day before, and that some of them actually could turn into real opportunities. And then there's some years where that doesn't happen, and it can go exactly the way that you thought, or it can end up being very calm and methodical and sometimes even quiet. But you don't really know, so you want to make sure you're as prepared as possible, at least that you have a good framework for assessing what these opportunities are, assessing the players, assessing whether it fits your roster, what are all the different balls in the air, how could it land, and you put yourself in as good a position as you can to proceed confidently if you do see an opportunity that's worth seizing.
Well, I mentioned a couple of minor league players who are doing some very impressive things as well. Let's start with Brandon Clark, very young guy, recently hit 103.1 on the radar gun. That's some velocity that is pretty heady.
Just as a refresher for everybody, he was one of the players we got in the deal for Sonny. One of the most exciting, one of the most talented arms probably in the entire game, but obviously a prospect who's still an A-ball, still a work in progress. But in terms of the arm talent, in terms of the upside, it's as good as you're going to find. And I had to have a procedure this offseason to where it was going to set him back and eat up a chunk of his season. And obviously we were able to build him back from that, get him back to the point where he was working through a mountain progression, was able to pitch for us in the FCL,
and then now made his full season debut as a Cardinal. And, man, it was electric. I mean, this is why we went out and got this guy. Obviously, there's a lot of work ahead of us in terms of building him up to his major league ceiling. But, I talked about when we got him, and you could see it if you were watching last night, just in terms of what's coming out of his hand, the stuff he's featuring, the angles he creates. It's as high a ceiling as we think there is in the minor league. So it's really exciting to see him back out there. I mean, he is a tremendous kid. Is an awesome worker throughout this procedure. Obviously has battled some of this health stuff throughout his career, so we're hopeful we can keep him on track.
And then the final guy to talk about, Quinn Matthews. He's been on quite the run recently at AAA Memphis. I'll say this, I think we could see him in the big leagues sooner than later, but no matter what happens, he's been very good recently.
It's awesome. I mean, we all know, obviously, how long Quinn has been at that level and a lot of the ups and downs there, and just the maturation of both the person and the pitcher. And so to see him stack up good outing after good outing, it's not like you ever check the box. There's no answers. There's only the work, right? But just to see him continue to log good outings and really understand who he is as a pitcher and be able to execute consistently is really, really encouraging. And, he continues to look like a guy who has something to offer at the next level. That's always been there, right? That's been there since that breakout year in 24. We just haven't seen him harness it as consistently as he or we would like. And now that we're starting to see that, it's really exciting. And it definitely has our attention.
That is much of what Chaim Bloom had to say to Tom Ackerman during Sports on a Sunday morning. Again, tomorrow, Oliver Marmol will be on at 12 noon. Make sure to be tuned in for that. And we'll have another show tomorrow night leading into another West Coast game. We'll probably play back some of what Ali has to say tomorrow. But for now, we'll take a break. We'll come back and we'll wrap up this program and then get you to Cardinals baseball. Cardinals Angels coming up tonight. This is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Don't let garage door problems bench your summer plans. From repairs, tune-ups, and replacements, Renner Garage Door hits a grand slam every time. Score a free repair or replacement quote today, plus $100 off a new garage door. Featuring trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, Renner delivers the quality, reliability, and performance your home can count on. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Love your low mortgage rate but need extra cash? Don't refinance. Get a Scott Credit Union home equity line of credit for home renovations or debt consolidation. Learn more at scu.org. Rates vary. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The soundtrack of classic rock is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater August 6th. Leonard Skinner and Foreigner joining forces for one epic night of legendary hits and unforgettable memories. It's the Double Trouble Double Vision Tour. From Sweet Home Alabama to Cold as Ice. Don't miss your chance to experience these two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts in one incredible show. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ouch! Checked from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slap shot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Starting to wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We only have about 2 minutes left here in the show, and then we'll get to our 8 o'clock news with Michael Calhoun, and a little bit after that wraps up, I'll be back with you for pregame Cardinals-Angels tonight. We'll see what the Cardinals do over the next few days. The Angels are not a very good team. They have seemingly been playing a bit better lately. And for the Cardinals this year, we can sit here and talk about the teams that they should beat, the teams that they shouldn't beat. There doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to who they beat and who they don't beat. They have success against a lot of really good teams. They don't have as much success against some teams that are not as good. I guess what I'm about to say is probably true for a lot of teams, but for the Cardinals, definitely, it seems like it's more about them than their opponent. When they put their best version of themselves on the field, they can go out and contend with everybody in Major League Baseball. But it does not take much for them to fall off that just a bit, and hopefully they're locked in. I thought it was interesting last night because yesterday was a terrible game for the Cardinals. It was a game that they gave away. It was a game that they had no business losing. Oliver Marmol said as much in his postgame, and he mentioned the fact that before the media even came into the clubhouse, there were conversations, really good conversations being had with the team about what just happened why it happened and how to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Because those are the kind of games that all of a sudden you start viewing a team differently, and you need to make sure that that kind of performance and losing that kind of game yesterday is very much the exception to the rule. So we'll see what they're able to do tonight. Kyle Leahy on the mound. He's been on a pretty good run lately. Jose Soriano is going to go for the Angels. He's having a nice season, has not pitched quite as well recently. We've got coverage beginning after the 8 o'clock news right here on KMOX.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor,